Hey guys, hope you're doing fantastic tonight. Thank you for joining me for another evening stream. I've got a fantastic guest on tonight. Actually, I need to click over. I clicked on the wrong scene button. Joined tonight by Bitcoin Trading Challenge. You guys know him from his YouTube channel. He's here to talk about market sentiment and psychology, some unique trade ideas and strategies. So just hope that you guys are doing fantastic. It is Wednesday, January 9th, 2019. And we've already got a sub. Hey, Robert, thanks for the sub on YouTube. I'm sure that was all for Mr. Bitcoin Trading Challenge. So let's give a big shout out to Bennett, I believe it is. Bitcoin Trading Challenge, how you doing this evening?
Good. How are you, Justin?
I'm good, man. I had a day, man. I had a day. Was not able to do the morning live stream. Got my internet all sorted away. And now we're back up and rolling and looking to reopen positions on BitMEX. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to pop them in the chat as always. Hopefully it's working correctly. I know that I can definitely see the chat over here, but the restream has been a little iffy lately. So let me guys know if you have any questions. So Bennett, let's start with you, man. Tell us a little about yourself. Tell the viewers, how you came to crypto, what your background is, and what you find interesting about the cryptocurrency markets.
Sure. So I started trading stocks with Charles Schwab about 5-6 years ago, and it was just passive trading, passive investing, where I bought Amazon, I bought Best Buy, I bought some other stocks, and I just held them for like 2 or 3 years. And I did okay in that, but I just didn't really find it that interesting, or really I couldn't see myself doing that for a lot longer. So what I ended up doing was I moved on to Forex trading, which is trading the USD JPY, the Euro USD, And I started scalping that and trading it on a much shorter time frame. And I found that I enjoyed that a lot more. And that's actually when I began to trade a little bit more sentiment. And I had tools that showed me stop losses, that showed me where other traders' limit orders were. And it was just a really good beginning of more psychology, sentiment trading. And then about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I came to crypto when Bitcoin was, three figures. And the reason why I wanted to stay with crypto is just because the amount of information
and what you find interesting about the cryptocurrency markets,
psychology, and the amount of metrics that you can get for altcoins and for Bitcoin. So I stuck with that, and I started the Bitcoin Trading Challenge, title of my YouTube, by just trading with using very basic technical indicators and just posting my trades on YouTube. And then I transitioned to doing more strategy, and then I transitioned to doing a lot more sentiment and market psychology. And I found that to be probably the most interesting part of crypto for me.
Cool, man. Well, traditional kind of probably not the most here's the thing, not the most a more traditional beginning to trading than most people that I meet in the space. Most people that trade crypto are like, I heard about Bitcoin on the news and I just went all in and now I don't have a house. So that's good to know that you do come from a background of traditional experience, that you did, you kind of started as I did with traditional stocks and equities. I never did value investing as you did. And I think that you picked in the long term, you obviously picked a good basket of stocks. Hard to go wrong on Amazon. On
I got lucky with that one.
Yeah, quite a run up. Big shout out to the 221 people. Hopefully I got that number right because I am terrible at counting. That's why I have indicators to do it for me. Watching us across YouTube and Twitch. If you guys have any questions, make sure to post any questions in the chat. I did go ahead. They did say that they were having trouble hearing you, so I jacked your gain up a little bit. So hopefully that.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I jacked that gain up quite a bit, man. You're good to go now. All right, so let's, I've really enjoyed your videos. They've been very refreshing, actually, as opposed to most of what you're going to see on YouTube, most of what you're going to see out there in the crypto space, especially the cesspool that is crypto Twitter, where you're actually looking at unique ideas, unique market psychology, and not only that, not only talking about them in a theoretical way, but you actually show individuals how to take these concepts that are fairly novel, at least as applied to cryptocurrency. Throughout the years, I've been doing this for about a decade, and I've seen nuanced approaches to sentiment. I've seen nuanced approaches to just to different elements in the market that most people don't take into account. And they're usually just presented in a theoretical fashion. And when you actually attempt to trade these methods out or to apply this to trading methodology, it tends to fall flat on its face. Unfortunately, or excuse me, not unfortunately, but as opposed to that, you do full charting, you show trade examples of how this can be profitable. And, just being in your Discord, I know that a lot of people have taken some of your strategies and apply them in the markets today. Heck, I do. There's stuff that you've talked about that I didn't think about in a certain way, and I have put that in as part of my analysis. Heck, you see I got M59's sentiment indicator in my background here. So let's see. Seth Shepard, Justin, did we bottom in Bitcoin or is a new low possible situation? We'll get into the technical analysis here in a little bit, guys. Personally, right now, if you want the long and the short of it, I think that Bitcoin's looking quite bullish. I think that we are retesting supply multiple times. The one thing that gets me a little bit right now is the longs to shorts ratios. Again, I can pull up that actual sentiment data. So longs kind of are at an area where they do get throttled and they fall off a cliff. But we're not seeing that strong reaction from a supply zone that we would normally want to see. So I still remain tentatively bullish because we haven't had that violent reaction that I would expect. And this is our third test of a supply zone. So, but we'll get more into the technicals there. So, Bennett, what have you been up to lately? What are you working on right now? And what's your current take on the markets? If you want to go in that direction, or if you just want to talk about kind of the new strategies and methods that you've been looking at.
So the recent obsession of mine in the market has been looking at BitMEX liquidations and looking at how we can plot where traders might be liquidated and then trying to place limit orders in spots where other traders might be liquidated. This kind of strategy really is just taking direct advantage of other retail traders. But I found that it can actually offer some really good buying and selling opportunities. And I'm starting to experiment with some different ways of how we can, we're never going to know exactly where other traders are going to be liquidated, but we can begin to try to calculate and begin to try to, put the puzzle pieces together with where in this price chart are a lot of traders likely to be liquidated, and where can I buy or sell from, based off that data.
So you're you're not looking to show up to the party late and leave early. You're looking to be the first one at the door.
Yeah, because I find that some of the best buying and selling opportunities do come from other traders being forced out of their positions, via liquidations,
right,
as evil as they are.
Absolutely, man. That's I think there's a pretty good example. That's one thing that I try to talk about and base my trading around is grabs for liquidity. I mean, you can see it very clearly here. This is the last trade that we actually took in the Kraken cryptocurrency trading group. Is we saw this pool of liquidity open up right here. We saw this grab for liquidity, and we didn't see the reaction, or excuse me, the breakdown of this area that I'd like to see. So we set buys in this area, 39.40 to 39.80, and it's worked out for us pretty well.
Yeah, nicely done.
But your approach to that is a little different. So you would have actually been looking to calculate this area potentially at, let's say, this period of consolidation right here. So you're looking at this period of consolidation. You're seeing a little bit of a bear flag form, for example, although I'm not a pattern trader. And you would be calculating based off what you've just talked about, looking at 25, 50, and 100x liquidation rates and calculating where are they at in the market. And that's where you want to be setting your limit orders. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And really, the easy part is trying to map where people will be liquidated, but the hardest part is to find where will highly leveraged traders be opening positions. Because, if I knew exactly where 100x traders were opening, then I could easily, we could both easily calculate where they would be liquidated. But the tough part is trying to find those spots where they are. And what I've found to be most helpful is to actually look at, I know some people hate the 1 minute, but I've actually found it helpful to look at 1 minute candlesticks, because it can show us 1 minute volume spikes can show us where a lot of retail traders are potentially opening positions. And then you can use that to map out where traders might be liquidated.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And, I try to shy away from the 1 minute chart myself. And you are right. A lot of traders hate it. It's a lot of data, but personally, I tend to trade on the 30-minute chart, but there are multiple examples. For example, the only time frame, if you weren't in a trade, for example, if we go back and look at this, we got to go back quite a little bit here. But if we go back and look at this latest pretty big moon candle here in Bitcoin, there was no time frame except for the 5 minute, potentially the 15-minute, where you would have been able to catch this trade, where you would have seen a clear closure of candles above a resistance level. That would have been your only opportunity to catch this trade. If you were looking on any other time frame, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, you missed it. There's no way you could have caught it. So how do you, I guess my question for that is, how do you determine, based on liquidations? So let's take a current example. Like let's go look at what's going on right now. Okay, let's go back out to the 1 hour chart. So how do you determine in your using this metric, for example, what is a grab for liquidity, that it would be confirming your directional bias and would be an attractive area of entry, or an area where the market is genuinely gonna turn around? So for example, like say individuals are looking at this as a longing opportunity, as I am, for example. The exact specifics of that we'll get to in a little bit if the traders are interested. But so you have individuals that are looking at the market and they're saying, okay, well, clearly we're ranging depending on, whatever level you want to look at. The lagging span is in the cloud, or, just prices moving sideways. We're not seeing a strong directional trend. The pattern seems neutral. It seems like a symmetrical pattern. Maybe it's a bear, whatever people are looking at and saying in the chart, right? But clearly it's not moving in a strong direction at the moment. And so they want to buy the breakout. So they're going to set buy stops above this area, which is also simultaneously where individuals are going to have their stop losses placed, who are going short, directly above resistance, directly above support. So you're going to have this pool of liquidity, either shorts buying to exit their short trades, or longs buy stopping into what they believe is a breakout. So how do you fit your directional bias, I guess, around that metric to determine, is this going to be a breakout, or is this going to be a stop loss hunt, a liquidity grab to the short side? If that makes sense.
That question right there, it makes total sense. That is one of the tougher questions to answer, which is really, if we have some resistance, when price reaches that resistance and goes beyond it, is it a genuine uptrend or is it a stop loss hunt? You know, there, unfortunately, there's really no direct answer to it, but there are some things. I'd say two things for me to try to answer that would be one would be short time frame tails. So if you look at the 1 minute or the 5 minute, then you see a massive wick, down right below support. If you see a massive wick right above resistance, and price doesn't look like it's climbing the wick, price doesn't look like it's going in the direction of the wick,
Sure.
then that can actually be a stop loss hunt, or it could be a lot of liquidations. And one thing that I found to be helpful is if you go to tensorcharts.com/u/bitmex stats. This is where I talked about it in my most recent video. It actually tells you where people have been liquidated in the past. So you can look to see if price goes right above a high and you see a lot of liquidations, then that may be an indicator that price is about to go down because it's already liquidated the traders.
Right.
But if price goes just above a high with a tail and doesn't have any liquidations, well, that could be a sign that price might continue to go higher until it reaches liquidations.
Right.
If that makes sense. So that's like the first part of the answer. Two is volatility. If we see high volatility upward, right above a high, and then we see a low volatility period, sideways where we're not really seeing much of a bullish reaction, then in that kind of scenario, I would expect price to have a hard time going up, because if price was going to go higher, it probably would have already done so, right? If price breaks a high and just kind of consolidates for a bit and goes slightly down, that can be a sign of trapping longs at a market top or at the new high, and then price begins to go down and potentially liquidate those longs or stop hunt those longs,
which would exacerbate the downtrend, right?
Yeah, which would actually just fuel the downtrend. And that's why a lot of the time on BitMEX and on some others, you will actually see just before an uptrend, you'll see a quick down move of liquidating the longs, of stopping out any long positions, then a quick up move. You can see that on the far left side of your chart on the 60-minute, just before that massive uptrend on January 6th. You can actually see there's two wicks that go down, then price goes up.
Yep.
Price consolidates, goes down a little bit, wicks, then just shoots up.
Yep.
So that is a common pattern that you're going to see, and vice versa for a downtrend. Price is going to go up and then down.
Yeah, and it's so prevalent on BitMEX too. And this is something that you see these things happen as somebody who's traded Forex. I mean, Forex and having a background in trading Forex, I think, serves you quite well in trading cryptocurrency. The reason why, in my opinion, is because when you're dealing with Forex, I mean, this is pretty common knowledge, but the 10 largest Forex traders are banks. The largest amount of liquidity in the entire Forex markets is pretty centralized. So you're really kind of a mouse, running along the giant's foot. You know what I mean? Trying to just get a piece of cheese. And because of that, I hate when people say that, the markets are manipulated. You have too many competing interests. The markets are manipulated. Not when people think manipulation, they're thinking that, if you're a bank or something, that you're seeing a different number flash on your screen, or that if you right click the chart, some Illuminati type, order book's going to come up for you. That's not the way it works. It's just that if you're a bigger player, the market's going to move more significantly when you make a play, and that's just the reality of the situation. So it's kind of the job of retail traders, really anybody with an account less than, I would say, $500,000, to learn to move with the waves instead of because you're not going to be able to move the market with $500,000. So cryptocurrency moves quite the same way because you have a small number of extremely large players and a massive number of small retail traders who are always doing the wrong thing. And you see that, but liquidity is a big issue because you see the same movements in Forex as you do in crypto, but you don't see those insane tails on Forex because there's far more liquidity in the markets.
Yeah, one note I would make on Forex where it actually differs a lot from crypto is counterparty. In Forex, unfortunately, for any Forex traders out there, you guys probably already know this, but a lot of the trades that you're making are the other side of that trade is going to be banks, and the other side of that trade is going to be maybe the market maker itself or the exchange. So when you buy, the bank has to sell, and when you sell, the bank has to buy. So the thing with that is that the banks really want retail to not do well because if retail is buying at a very high rate, then the banks get to sell at a very, very good rate. And if, retail is going crazy selling, the dollar to the yen, then banks get to buy that up at a low price. So with Forex, where it really differs from crypto, I think, is that counterparty. And that's a big reason why I just stopped trading Forex and I moved to crypto, was I wanted the other side of my trade to be a retail trader, or at least a bot.
Right.
And not be an institution or a bank, because I know that that's just not going to be a game I'm going to win.
And that's one of the nice things about, at least in my opinion, the BitMEX platform as well, because there's no longs to shorts ratios insofar as, order to order. There's one short on the other side of your long. So there, you definitely know that there's almost certainly a person, or as you said, a bot on the other side of the trade, for certainly.
More likely a bot. Yeah.
Yeah. More likely a bot. And it just makes it more complicated. It's not that there can't be a level of manipulation, like BitMEX, for example, having capital of their own that's being traded, but in some fashion. I'm sure that is occurring. Who wouldn't? But at the same time, you can't. It's not anything. It comes down. This is, I guess, my general response to people who complain or talk about manipulation, is that okay? So what? Let's say you're right. Okay, how can I trade that information? How can I trade that knowledge? Otherwise, it's fairly pointless rumination. So, okay, interesting. Talking about the BitMEX liquidations. So you talked about, if you want to, we can switch over if you want, and you can actually share your screen and kind of break down some of what you were talking about. You might, yeah. I think you're going to be able to elucidate it a little bit better than trying to point out on a screen you can't control.
Okay, I'm going to try to, all right, share. Let me know when you can see it.
There we go.
You see it?
Yeah.
Great. So what we're looking at here, this is a trading view chart, but it's this site here. That's tensorcharts.com/u/bitmexstats. And this site, I'm going to put this over here. This site actually gives us historical liquidation data. And the way I like to use this is, I talked about in a previous video of mine that typically when a liquidation occurs, price tends to bounce the other way. So when you see longs getting liquidated at a low, typically price is going to respond by moving back up. And, there's some pretty cool examples of that. Like here, we can see that we had 1.3 million contracts of long that had gotten liquidated, and price, moved higher. This was a price tail where price liquidated. Lots of traders right down here moved right back up. Green is where shorts are being liquidated. Red's longs and green is shorts.
Right.
So here we actually had an opportunity where this one, I think, was the most interesting of the entire day. So we had a prolonged period of consolidation. And what's happening during this period of consolidation is some traders may be looking to go 50x, to go 100x, and just try to bet on price going down. So some people did that, and some people probably went about 50x or 100x short at these prices here. So when price went up to here, triggered their liquidations of the number was 450,000. You can see that number right where it says buy sell liquidations. So we had 450,000 shorts liquidated, then price goes down. So I've actually found this to be a really good way to scalp. If you want to scalp on BitMEX, or if you want to scalp on any other exchange, you can see here we had 131,000 contracts short that were liquidated, and then price went down, liquidated the longs, then price went right back up, and now price is still going up, as you can see here. But sometimes what I do is I like to look at this liquidation chart and then compare that to the trading view chart. So if we go to 1618 on my trading view, that is here. So you can see that price went about, from here to here, price went about 0.75% higher, liquidated the shorts. And then any long who tried to buy this because they thought it was high momentum, price is going to the moon, then they get liquidated, as you can see right down here, as those traders get liquidated too. So this is the newer way that I've been trading the market, which is to look for when traders are getting liquidated to try to take the other side of the trade. But the reason I made the video for calculating, trying to find liquidation levels, is sometimes when you see a liquidation happening, it's already too late. We want to be the one buying on this kind of price tail, and we want to be the one selling, on that price tail. So we want to be the one who already set a predetermined limit order here to sell, and be the one who set a predetermined buy limit order here, to buy. And that's really what I've been looking into and doing some research on and trying to find ways to plot where traders will be liquidated. And it's some pretty cool stuff.
Good, man. Do you want to cut to the end of the movie and let us know if there's any, if you've come along on any way with that, or if that's what you're actively working on?
Yeah, so this is what I've been working on, and the newer stuff that I actually haven't featured on my YouTube yet is not just doing this for Bitcoin, but doing it for the other coins that are offered on BitMEX. And if I pull up TRX, TRX, yep, here it is. So what I'm actually going to be doing here, and I don't know if you guys can see it, I'm going to switch this over to the BitMEX calculator. I'm going to try to new share. All right. Yeah. So do you see the BitMEX site right now?
Yep.
Great. So we're looking at TRX right now, and the reason we're doing this is looking at liquidations of Bitcoin is great, but another play you can make is to try to take advantage of liquidations on 88, on TRX, on EOS. And the way that I like to do that is TRX has max leverage of 20x. So if you use BitMEX, you can only go 20x. So if I type that in here, and what I like to do, and what I did before was I went here and I saw, okay, if anyone bought at a price of, this was the number 669 or higher. So if anyone bought at any of these prices, where would they be liquidated? So if anyone bought in this range, basically what price would they be liquidated on maximum leverage? And what I found, to calculate that is I went to entry price. I went to 669, and you can see that it gives me the liquidation price of where a lot of those TRX longs were actually liquidated at 653. So you can see, where did price go down to? Price went exactly down to 653 to liquidate as many TRX longs as possible. And I can draw the range that I found that from. So what I'm showing here in this little rectangle is anyone who went 20x long on TRX in this rectangular price range, so from 669 up to 678, they were all liquidated on this price move down. And then what I found after that was, naturally you'd expect some people to just go crazy and just short TRX because they all thought it was going to go lower. And we can calculate that. So anyone who, let's say, we can put any number in. Let's do 657. So 657, they will be liquidated at 641. Let's go to short. Yeah, 673. So can you see my trading view screen and my BitMEX screen right now? Can you see both?
No, I can only see your trading view screen.
Oh, you just see my trading view screen?
Yeah.
But now do you see the BitMEX screen?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. So what I'm typing in here, and the reason I'm doing that is when you're, looking to pick a direction to trade and you don't really know where you want to take profit, this is where liquidations can come into play for setting your take profit. So this is saying that anyone who had shorted at 657 would be liquidated at 673. So we know that 673 might hold some liquidity, around this area. If price goes any higher, it's going to liquidate these traders who shorted the bottom. And if anyone shorted the very bottom, so let's say like 654, they would have been liquidated at 670 right here. So basically what this is saying to me is, in this range here, if TRX does go to this level, I'm expecting it's going to probably go up and then come back down. The reason it's going to probably do that is you're probably going to see a price tail up to here. That's going to liquidate some of these 20Xers who shorted the bottom. Price is going to go here, and then it might consolidate and move down, or it might even consolidate after these price sales and move up. But I would expect this range right here is a good place for it to reverse, if that makes sense, for using TRX. And you can use this for any other. If I go to Ripple, even maximum leverage available for Ripple is 20x. So if I go to the XRPH 19, here I can see that Ripple, has really gone up a lot. So I'm expecting that a lot of people may have bought this. So if anyone had bought at, let's say, 95.80 even, if anyone bought at 95.80, I can do that here. 0.000. So
Quadruple.
Yeah, 958. Perfect. If anyone had bought at 0.00958, they would be liquidated at 9341 on 20x leverage. So I know that down here, we might have a good amount of liquidations. And conveniently, that's also just below, this market low here. So anyone who buys here knows going to be liquidated here. So that's just where my head's at. I hope that wasn't like too confusing and me kind of just rambling on.
No, not at all.
You make sense with looking at liquidations. And the reason why I like to look at this instead of just, standard technical analysis, standard indicators, is I find that trading on the side of institutions, trading on the side of traders who burn and look to hunt other retail traders is typically the right side you want to be on. And this really is the ultimate way to counter trade retail. So that's why I do it.
Absolutely, man. And I think one thing I think that answers the question that I was asking, this goes back to the original question of, well, if you're looking at an area, how do you know what's going to be a genuine breakout and what's going to be a stop loss hunt for liquidity, to confirm to the opposite movement. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, what you've done is basically the extent of what you can do as a trader. This was one of the first things that, I guess, one of the first mindset things that people struggle to overcome, is that all you can do as a trader is sharpen your skills and identify key areas where you would like to enter and then exit and then cut your risk. And the market determines if you're profitable. It's not like in advance, like, okay, it's like you just said, like, okay, when price gets to this level, it's either going to consolidate and move down, or consolidate, potentially move up. It could even just consolidate, move right, and then, kind of go up and down. We don't know until it happens, but what you've done successfully is identify a fairly key levels, pockets of liquidity, if you will. And you guys better be buying Bitcoin right now. Look at that. Moving up on the 1 minute chart. We're going to the moon. Is identify key levels of liquidity where there will definitely be action to be taken. Now, whether that turns into a short scalp, if you're actively monitoring the trade and you're able to capture profit, you see a reversal, that's fine. You're already in good profits because you have already entered at the very top or the very bottom or darn near close to. And what more can you ask for? Because when you're entering into a period of consolidation, if you buy in the middle, it makes it more difficult to actively manage your trade because most people buy into the very top of local peaks and most people short it to the valley of local lows, unfortunately. So, all right, I want to engage with the chat a little bit here. So
and how can I, stop sharing my screen so you can show your beautiful chart?
You
yes. I got it.
There you go.
You're back on, man.
All right, cool. Let's engage with the chat a little bit. You've got some fans. Xantimus Crypto, hey, what's going on? Mr. Moderator, thank you so much for modding for us. Let's see. Summit says the Bitstamp chart in the 1 minute has price gaps. Looks like high-frequency trading bots front-running people. I don't know. Any ideas?
He's saying, looks like the Bitstamp chart has price gaps. Oh, on the what time frame did he say it?
On the 1 minute chart, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to pull that up?
Yeah, sure. Let me go right over here. I'm going to actually have to select the 1 minute chart because I don't look at it.
So we're looking at Bitstamp, BTC USD.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm looking on my screen too with the 1 minute. So yeah, I see what's going on here, and I think I'm going to be able to answer this question. So the commenter was asking, why are there gaps in the 1 minute chart?
Well, his summation, his summation was that it's HFT bots that are front running traders.
Not exactly. A reason why, a common reason why you're going to see 1 minute gaps is because of just illiquid markets. Mm-hmm. When you have the bid and the offer that are 1 penny away from each other, price is not going to have many gaps because the bid ask spread is so tight, But on some other markets that aren't as liquid, what you're actually going to see is the bid and the offer aren't going to be right next to each other, but the bid may be down here, the offer may be up like here, and then another time the offer might be here. And that's really just what you get in an illiquid market. Mm-hmm. So on BitMEX, you're not going to see many gaps because every $0.50 that you can place a bid or an offer at is probably already going to have offers there and bids there. So I think the answer to that is just it's illiquid. It's no manipulation.
I think I agree with you. I agree that he's right in a sense, as far as So you basically just described being front run by a bot that already had an order in there. Not necessarily a bot that was actively placing an order in there. He's getting front run by existing limit orders that are already on the book. So that's not really front running. You know what I mean? I just wanted to make that clarification and difference.
Yeah. I was answering the question of like, why does the 1 minute chart look this way? But also, unfortunately, just like from an order book standpoint, a lot of times with these illiquid markets, what's going to happen is whenever you place a bid, they're going to place a bid just one tick above your bid. And that's just what the program to do. Not much, you can really do about it.
And you can see the same thing too. So right on my chart, you can actually see obviously I have the point of control pointed out. And what I guess the way that I would apply that, or at least what comes to my mind when I look at this chart, is that your traditional traders who are going to be using a technical analysis strategy on this time frame, for example, and again, they're going to have to be moving fairly quickly. So let's assume that their bots are programmed to this. So that point of control is going to be fairly congruent with like a moving average crossover strategy. So you can see that, like when price crosses the point of control, that is probably congruent with the moving average crossover as well. Price is crossing a moving average. They're buying. You see a lot of buying right here. So you're not getting a lot of when retail is not putting in limit orders around this area if they're actively trading this range, because they're just not going to be able to get, you're right, there's offers on the book. So they're going to have to be market buying. And when they're market buying, the ask is not going to be at the level at which they're looking at the price. It's not going to be the last traded price. So that means that when retail does pile in on these movements, it doesn't matter. These are either, you could look at this as, if you're looking at the stochastic, maybe the stochastic is crossing over quite wildly, as it does when price is ranging. If you're looking at a moving average strategy, you're buying when price moves above the moving average and you're selling when it goes below. Or if you just look at something like the point of control, if you're trading the point of control, you have a lot of bots piling in as price is moving above a certain key level, because that's what they're trained to do. That's how traders are trained as well. When price moves up, buy it now. Instead of what your approach is you're trying to buy this tail right here. You're trying to be like, okay, let me do some calculations. I'm gonna put my buy right here. Good stuff. All right, let's see. James Glenn, hey, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing well tonight. Lily Stein, she says, happy trading. I love Bennett. He's such a stud. All right, you've got some
Thank you, Lily.
Seth Shepard, Keel Wilson, shout out to you guys. Hope you guys are doing fantastic tonight. Let's see here. Hey, Agartha Asgard, what's going on, man? Sounds good. And 175 people, over 300 now. That's pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good viewership tonight. So Chef Shepard had asked, Justin, did we bottom in Bitcoin, or is a new low possible? You said STIT, but I don't know what STIT means. I'm going to assume you meant to type sir, because people say that to me sometimes. It's all good, man. Yeah, I'm actually short-term bullish, potentially, depending on how Bitcoin closes above this distribution range, this supply zone. I might even become short-term bullish. I promise you, as I've said before in the show, I will not paint the inverted head and shoulders meme that is taking over the internet. I promise to not do that. I'm not a pattern trader. I have charted it out for you guys. You've seen my conservative take profit targets in low volume nodes where I would like to be exiting my position. I do think overall, though, next, whether it's Q1, whether it's Q2, whether it's Q3. Again, I've done some time fractals for you guys, looking at August of 2019 as an important area, just based upon the length of previous bear markets and based upon the length of peak to trough, the previous low, of the previous high at the all-time high to the current low. And also from the previous low to the previous high. So I've done some time fractal dilation on that for you guys and pointed out areas on the chart vertically that I think are important. But I definitely do think that we end up breaking support at currently at the $3,100 level. But we will wait and see. I do have my eye on 2331.86 cents. That is the 88.6 Fibonacci retracement of Bitcoin. That's also where we bottomed in 2014. So it's also in the middle of the high volume node. So let's see here. Getting through the chat a little bit more, guys. Tried trading yet? I'm here to learn. Oh, that was Scott engaging. Scott, what's going on, man? Moderator. Chuck G says XRP shorts were all just liquidated.
Really?
Maybe we could see that. That was a while ago. I don't have timestamps on this. That was earlier in the chat because I wasn't.
Yeah, it looks like XRP still going up a bit. Yeah, interesting.
Let's go look at. So shorts liquidated. I am looking at the 1 minute chart. So, okay. So actually, let me pull up XRP H19. See if I can see what he's talking about. Oh, well, yeah, of course they're liquidated because they tried to go short in the market right now. Yeah. Because price is going.
But
Yeah, they're good.
I'm pulling it up right now on the 1 minute. But the hardest question really to ask is, how much higher is price going to go? And I don't really have an answer for that. But what I can tell you is what you want to find is heavy volume to the downside, because that's going to tell you where a lot of those XRP shorts are entering. So when you look at that 1 minute chart, at what price do you think a lot of XRP shorts are entering?
Yep, you can clearly see it. Let me pull out my painting tool here. You can clearly see them entering here. You can clearly see them entering here. Trying to short the top of the market, which they did not do.
I don't think I can see the screen because it's on a bit of a delay. So what price do you think? Do you think a lot of people shorted at like 95.60, or like where do you think they?
Yeah, they began 95.80 to 95.6. Oh, excuse me, I have it going down to 95.50. Yep. And then again from 95.96 to 95.70 is where we see another increase in the shorts as well. So you have two on the.
Okay. Oh, are you looking at Bitfinex shorts?
I'm looking at XRP H19 on BitMEX.
Okay. I thought, okay. So you say like you're thinking that a lot of shorts were entering at 9596 and 956 to 9596. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I can actually share my screen and we can actually do a quick little fun calculation to see what would actually happen.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead. Click over and then I can click the swoosh button. Yep. There you go.
You see this? Okay.
Yep.
So we're looking at XRP right now, and you had told me you think 956 is one of them. So if you use 20x leverage, maximum leverage, and you try to short XRP at 956, it's 9799. That is the price that those guys are going to be liquidated at. And 9799, I think, is a good deal higher. That's like right up here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that XRP is guaranteed to go higher. What I am saying is that if price reaches that 9800 level, you might see a bit of a pullback as it liquidates some shorts.
Let's go look at a higher time frame and see if we go ahead. You were going to calculate another one.
I'm going to give you two of them, and you can draw a rectangle between them. The first number, like I had said, was 9799, as you can see, and the second one 9596. Got it. The second higher number is 9835. So between the range of 9799 and 9835. That's where you're going to see a lot of those 20x shorts liquidated who had shorted at the prices that you thought a lot of those BitMEX shorts may have been entering. So that could be a potential just local top. Again, that is not saying the price is going to go up to that level. It means that if price does go up to 98, it might have a harder time moving higher because of liquidations.
That's interesting. Again, you're on a little bit of a delay, but that is resistance.
Oh, I'm only looking at the 1 minute.
That's our previous swing high.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's convenient that's unfortunate for the XRP shorts who are trying to get that Lambo,
Yeah. We've actually had, let me zoom back in time a little bit here and do a little bit of analysis to see how strong this level is. Yeah, this is a very clear level. So that's interesting. It's a very clear level because it was support on the movement down. We got a nice reaction on that, although we did wick much lower than it on an intraday time frame. But we got clear support on a closing basis from that level. Ended up closing down, pulled back for a retest of it, came down, got clear rejection from it once, twice. Let's see here. Yeah, third time. Yep, very strong area of supply right now. So we are coming back up to retest that area of supply on very, very, very high volume as well. So this would be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be our 6th test of supply on higher volume than we've ever approached volume. So not looking like a good case for the shorts who entered at that particular point in time. Most likely going to get liquidated at that key level. Definitely going to get some play off that 9800 again. We normally, if the volume spike had occurred, if we kind of crept up to it slower, and then we're in a period of consolidation, then you could look for a volume spike, at least in my experience, my analysis, to break through that level, just like kind of like we saw with Bitcoin. Just about a day ago. But yeah, I think we'll definitely get a reaction off that. The key, I guess, the level to be watching if you guys think that XRP is going to break resistance or going to be gearing up for a good short is the violence of the rejection that we do get from that supply zone. But keep in mind that the more times that you test supply or the more times that you test demand, the weaker it gets.
Yeah, and I think that I wouldn't be shocked to see, that high at 98.20 on the 1 hour chart of XRP H19.
Let's see here.
I wouldn't I wouldn't be shocked if price went up to about 984 or 985 just to go slightly above a high, and potentially, liquidate some shorts and hit stop losses of shorts as well. That wouldn't shock me.
I just realized I just had to fix the screen so people were seeing you kind of maximize. Sorry about that, guys.
Really?
So you guys weren't really seeing what I was showing here, but that's
you're just seeing my face.
Just seeing Bennett. Hey, which is cool for that. At least for Lily, she's very pleased. Let's see. Let's continue with the chat. Yeah, and and that would also be a classic SFP setup where we are testing for a swing failure. Mm-hmm. So let me make sure. Gotta watch crypto. Hey, what's going on, man? Mr. Ether, how are we doing this evening, man? Sup, are we gonna dip? Are we gonna dip? I assume you're talking about Bitcoin. A play for liquidity is not out of the books yet, but still looking at fairly bullish sentiment. My current setup was I grabbed liquidity play earlier. I've already hit 2 of 4 short-term scalping take profit targets. So really on an intraday trade, I should be out of the trade, but I still have about 50% of my position left open. If we close an hourly candle below 39.74, it's going to invalidate my trade, and I'm going to look to re-enter on a retest of the HVM previous resistance. So we can see that level right here on my chart. We can see this kind of red rectangle that I have not extended to the right. But you can see very clearly what price reacts to that level. So that level's around the lower 3,900. So 39.13 is the median of that actual range right there. We do see wicks above it. That is also fairly congruent with the horizontal level that needed to be broken to clearly validate a breakout of the symmetrical formation. Again, not a pattern trader. That's why I don't take measured movements. If I see a pattern, I'll do Fibonacci extensions for take profit targets. So they tend to be much more valid for me. So I guess that's my common gripe, is that people will see this, they'll be like, oh, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. That's what most people will think. They'll see this. I know you can't. You'll see it in a second, Bennett, but they'll see this touch or this non-touch of the symmetrical triangle, and they'll be like, well, that's a touch. I'm going to count it. That's 5 touches. It's valid. Let's go for it. And they'll be like, all right, so I've been reading Investopedia. I've been studying, and I'm supposed to measure from the top to the bottom and then project that from the breakout point. Okay, great. Okay, Bitcoin's going to 4,300. I find that works like 10% of the time. And when it does work, the reaction that you get from those people is kind of like, I don't know if you guys have ever worked in IT, but anytime like you've got 4 IT guys sitting around like trying to solve something and everything they've tried like doesn't work. If you've ever done any code, like generally when you code, you look at a screen and you're like, it works, but why? Or it doesn't work. Why? That's my experience with the code anyways. Anyways, the IT guy's reaction when they actually do solve something is kind of like, I told you so. Like I knew it. I knew it all along. I told you the measured move would work. I find it much more better to do a Fibonacci extension. And you can see, yes, your negative 1.236 would have been a very nice take profit target for you as well as your negative 3.82. So when you're looking to take a breakout in that fashion, if you were watching and you saw this, boom, you had your take profit targets there as well. If you were wanting to enter into consolidation, using average true range, as I do, to measure your stop below the most recent swing low, at least one ATR below the swing low is generally where I set my stop. Unless I'm buying in the median in the consolidation zone, and then I will use generally 3.5. But in that case, I'm looking to buy at an extension of 1 to 2x ATR away at below price. So just my little tricks of the trade for playing ATR. Sorry, let me get through the rest of the chat. Seth says, if I'm decent, I will dump a buy-in. Hey, Edward Park, what's going on, man? Let's see here. Gabe Anderson, hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you watching us tonight, man. Seth Shepard says, what's the minimum buy-in to be in the club? I am basically Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, dude. There's no minimum buy-in to be into the club, man. This is not a Backstreets poker game, man. Just free content as far as is concerned. Fair Lost was pointing some charts on BTC. I don't want to open that up. My computer might crash. Seth's going to be rebalancing his assets over the next 2 days. Is crypto going to be up at least 10% this year? Most definitely. I definitely believe that. Justin, what's my website? KrakenCryptocurrency.com. And I have, oh, by the way, so I don't want to exclude this. I have all of Bennett's links in the description down below. I have his website. his Patreon, his YouTube channel, and his Discord. So make sure you guys go check that out. His Discord is a good source of information, as is his YouTube channel. And if you want to support what he does, make sure you check out his Patreon. And I believe you still do Skype call mentoring, at least as far as your website goes. So yeah, so guys, make sure you guys hit him up if you want to get some more of his insight. Let's see here. Wolf of Crypto says, TS January, we are there right now. And people asking if anyone's in a Tron trade. Well, here's the thing about Tron, the wonderful performer. So Tron is moving. Tron is okay. Hold on. Words will come. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a buy the rumor, sell the news event. So Tron bought quote unquote BitTorrent, and they're doing a TRX airdrop. So they're going to be dropping their new BTS tokens on, and that's BitShares. What is the name of their new token? It's BTR or BTS. It's something like that. I don't know the exact name of it, but they're going to be airdropping that token to TRX holders. So there's been a pretty big run up on top of the fact that, Tron's just a popular coin to trade, and everything else has been going up as well recently. But Tron definitely been a higher performer, and we've taken a lot of TRX USDT trades. We've taken some TRX H19 trades. You do want to be cautious, though. We can go look at Tron. I just did. Same with EOS. We just this was actually our last EOS trade right here. So EOS is good.
I always pronounce it EOS. I guess I was pronouncing it wrong. It's actually EOS.
No.
I never knew.
Nobody knows, man.
And F or ETH.
Yeah, I say F. Maybe it is ETH for Ethereum.
Ether, so
right.
I don't really know.
That's a good one. All right, so TRX USDT. Again, guys, in this market right now, I'm very hesitant about playing Bitcoin pairings. And I'll tell you why. Now, there's nothing wrong against Bitcoin pairings. There's good times to trade altcoins and Bitcoin pairings, and there's bad times to trade altcoins and Bitcoin pairings. Typically, when Bitcoin goes sideways, you're going to see a lot of liquidity move into altcoins. And I've talked about this reason before, because traders, intraday traders, they need volatility, and they need to see the market move. This is what they do for a living. They need to see the markets move. So if Bitcoin is doing nothing, they're going to seek profits elsewhere, because they're going to move their BTC over to Binance. They're going to move it to Bitfinex, or they already, most likely, if they're a professional trader, they already have a pool of liquidity on those exchanges. And so that's when you're generally going to see enhanced volatility on these altcoins. However, you do always have to go look over at Big Daddy Bitcoin. When Bitcoin is trending fairly strongly, what you will notice is that altcoins don't tend to trend as strongly. They're a delayed effect. Actually, Bennett, you gave me a fantastic website for looking at correlations, which is Enroid. And I have taken to looking at Enroid, especially seeing how correlations flip and change over time. So my personal strategy is that when Bitcoin is trending fairly strongly, it is generally a good opportunity to buy altcoins that you have a directional bias to the long side, because you can't go short on Binance. If you're not trading altcoin futures on a BitMEX platform or Bitfinex, because then you can go short there. But if you can only go long and you're on Binance, when Bitcoin is trending fairly strongly, that is generally a good opportunity to buy dips on altcoins that you think are going to have a good whether you have your fundamental reasons for entering to the trade, whether you have your technical reasons for entering to the trade. But those are the key opportunities that I've found, because they tend to follow along with the pump, because when Bitcoin's done trending, it moves into sideways consolidation for a little bit, altcoins pump. But if you're just looking for good overall trades, USDT pairs can exhibit more much safer trades, because then you don't have to expose yourself to Bitcoin's volatility of depreciating your USD value of your portfolio. Whereas, if you're trading, if an altcoin's going sideways, but Bitcoin is moving up, your USD value is more than likely increasing, even if the altcoin's going down a little bit. It just depends on, the percentages, because your USD value is going up because you're going to have less Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's worth more money. But with USDT, it's generally much safer, much easier, much less stressful to lock in the USD value of your portfolio, at least in my experience. So TRX USDT, you kind of want to be cautious in this range. Again, we are coming up on our previous supply zone. We've had 1, 2, 3. This is our fourth test of supply, and we are looking to close above it on a 4-hour basis right now, getting a lot of resistance. This is just kind of an area where you definitely need to wait, because the best case scenario is we continue going up. More than likely, before we continue going up, we need to consolidate and establish this new level as support before we start looking to take out previous resistances. I never like to long into resistance. I never like to short into support. It's just kind of my base rule strategy. So TRX USDT, could it have more legs? Does it have a lot of room to go? Is it a perfect short? You kind of have to wait. And it all depends on, are we going to establish this new level of support? Do we find consolidation and continue moving upwards? That is your signal. And again, that's probably one of the toughest things for traders, in my experience, to learn and understand and accept, is that, guys, sometimes you just got to be patient and wait for confirmation. You can take a enter on candle open strategy if you want, but be careful. All right. Yeah. Digging through the chat a little bit more. Vlad Canro says, I have been looking at the liquidation bot all afternoon.
Yeah.
Seth Shepard says, how do we get range again? I'm not sure what you mean by that, man. I wish I was sitting at your desk watching you trade live. Pockets of liquidity create range targets. Yeah. You know, you can watch me sit at my desk trade live. It's called my channel. You know, again, I don't do what some people do, so I don't stream my trades live. There is a reason for that. If you just search your soul and search your intelligence and search the American flag in the background of my screen, it will come to you. But you guys can obviously join the Discord, and I do show my trades on there. But I do my best to explain to you guys what I am doing. Mr. Decipher X, hey, what's going on, man? And we had just talked about XRP right before I came on the stream. Hey, don't worry, man. We do got that. We do got a longer term setup for that. So fret not, my friend. Caribbean Crypto Show, what's going on, man? Late, but I'm here. I'm glad you came, man. Let's see here. Seth Shepard says, you've missed a lot. Don't worry. There's always that rewind feature. Johnny Bull says 22% move on XRP with a symmetrical triangle. Parker says Ethereum Classic. Actually says ETC, ETC, ETC. We had talked. Do you know anything about that? It's not really a huge, amazing, like wonderful topic that I really care a lot about. Ethereum Classic was 51% attacked. I don't know. We had kind of talked about fundamentals of coins. I don't know if you have any opinions or comments. I don't really have any opinions on Ethereum Classic. I've been asked about that. Like
on ETC?
Yeah, so it was 51% attacked. Again, the dev team is saying that they weren't 51% attacked, that it was just greedy miners. Listen, man, like their development team quit. I used to really, really like Ethereum Classic. I thought it was my fundamental case for Ethereum Classic was that when Ethereum moved to proof of stake, you were going to have a lot of miners that are mining Ethereum that don't have a lot of options for their GPU mining and have invested thousands, like maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars into rigs. They're going to need a new ASIC resistant, or at least slightly ASIC resistant. Nothing is really ASIC resistant. A blockchain to mine. And I assumed that they would move over to Ethereum Classic, but the bear market hit Ethereum Classic as it did Steem it. Steem it obviously had to lay off a lot of people. A lot of developers. That's why we've seen a decline in the Steem it platform, a platform I used to love and still post on. And yeah, Ethereum Classic unfortunately going the way of the dinosaur. Is there a potential for it to be resurrected? Again, it's just open source code, guys. If you one of the interesting things about cryptocurrency is that there is not a whole lot that's gone to zero. As long as exchanges list it, there are hundreds of cryptocurrencies that are 4, 5, 6 years old. Their GitHub has not been touched in like, I don't know, ever, and they continue to be traded on KuCoin or alt markets or whatever. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. Crypto Red Eye says liquidity, baby. Where do you think this pump is coming from? Buyers, most likely buyers. I guess, yeah, Bennett, do you have any thoughts on that? A lot of people are commenting on XRP pumping.
Oh, shifting gears on XRP. I had something ready for Ethereum Classic. But
no, sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'll share my screen again just to show you guys where my head's at. And I'm going to be featuring, I think you've talked about this before, but this is vcdep.io/coin/Ethereum Classic. And what this site does, I made some videos on this. You can check it on my channel. It combines the bids and the offers for any coin in the market. It combines exchanges rates for that. into just one source for bids and offers. So combined bids and offers. And what you can actually see here on Ethereum Classic is we've had a prolonged period where the offers, meaning the limit sell orders, have been higher than the limit buy orders. And currently on the 1 day, you can see that the difference between the offers and the bids is 9.05%, which means basically that selling pressure is about 9% higher than buying pressure. And it's been like that for a bit. So I wouldn't be shocked to see ETC. I'm going to pull this guy up here. I wouldn't be shocked to see ETC continue to do what it's doing. You know, I don't know if it's going to continue its downtrend. This is a high volatility move and then a period of consolidation. So I would not be shocked of this happening, or even like a fake out and then this happening. I think if there's any reason for me to buy this, what I would have to see is the market depth improving. So I would need to see this red line going down, meaning the limit sell orders are weakening, and I would need to see this green line go up, meaning that the buy orders are strengthening. But until I see some more buying, until I see more buy orders coming into ETC, I don't really have much reason to be bullish on ETC at the moment. So
that is a rough looking MDR, man.
Yeah.
It's not like literally like one molecule of green in there, you know?
Yeah, like this was the one time that it's saying, hey, you know, buying might not be terrible. 10 p.m. EST, January 7th. So January 7th, 10 p.m. EST. I don't even know if that would have been a good time to buy, to be honest. That'd be around here. Yeah, this whole thing just doesn't look great. Like I said, until this goes really green, I don't see any reason to buy this.
Yeah.
You know, I think the only reason why this might go up is because of its correlation to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin pumps, ETC might be like, okay, you're pumping, I'll pump as well.
Right. Well, at the very least, the USD value would go up on people's Ethereum Classic holdings because, again, then their underlying asset or their counterparty asset is increasing in USD value.
Yeah, it all goes back to BTC's movements.
It does.
As important this is. And you were asking about XRP, about XRP pumping again?
Yeah, a lot of people talking about XRP pumping.
All right. Let me go to my handy one minute chart. So it doesn't really look like we have a volume spike yet. Do you see any major change in volume yet?
Only on the hourly chart. And if you look at if you look at the hourly chart, obviously, you know, you can see
that's a lot of volume.
A lot of volume on the hourly chart. What might potentially be a local top, a retest of a previous high, not all the way up to the range high yet, or excuse me, the swing high. Yet to test that range high, which would be the third peak over there as well.
Yeah, in the Fibonacci, looks like we're in that 61.8 zone. I think that if price does go higher, like you and I have both said, I think that this is the area where it might see some resistance.
That 9,800 level, yes.
Yeah, but right now, I'm also going to take a look at the Binance rate because, you know, that has a large amount of volume. I'm not really seeing a major, change in volume yet. I'm not seeing on the 1 minute a major volume spike. Like a volume spike that you actually might want to worry about, just for the viewers here, is something like this. So when you see this massive volume spike on the 1 minute of XRP BTC on Binance with a tail, this price went down about, not a lot, but like 1.5%. And it went down until another volume spike occurred right here. So volume spiked when a lot of sellers had likely sold XRP right here, and price went right back up. We even had a high momentum volume spike. Price went down. Price continues to go up. And I wouldn't be shocked to see price continue to go a little bit higher. Until I see a major volume spike or change in volume, I'm not really going to be bearish on XRP yet. I don't really see any reason to be bearish yet. I think that maybe if we get a close below previous resistances here. So if I see a close below this level here, then yeah, that's pretty bearish. Because that's showing that this previous resistance is not being respected as support, which means the price could continue going lower.
Yeah, I'm looking at the, here, let me flip over real quick if you want to exit your screen share for just a minute.
Let me give it to you. Do you have it now?
Boom.
Okay.
Excellent. Here's what I see with XRP, and it's kind of similar to my analysis of Bitcoin, honestly, if I just have to be honest and look at the chart. I'm looking at the 3-day now on Binance.
Right.
And here's what comes out to me. Obviously, price is trading above the local point of control. bullish, meaning, it's quite the same strategy. This is just your traditional indicator for bullishness. It doesn't matter whether you're using the point of control in the fashion that I'm using the point of control. It doesn't really matter if you're using the Ishimoku cloud. It doesn't really matter if you're using some kind of crossover strategy. If you're using RSI above a certain level, it doesn't really matter. It's just your traditional technical indicator of bullishness. Is price above a certain level? That means it's trending up or more bullish. Is it below a certain level? If so, then it's more bearish or trending downwards. I see that we kind of the same thing with the analysis of Bitcoin that I did earlier and my reasons and justifications for looking at that as well. We do see that price obviously put in a low here. We put in a higher low, and now we are consolidating at a level of supply. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major tests of the supply zone, and the reaction to a supply zone, again, if we go back and compare this to the reaction of Bitcoin to the $6,000 level, we see quite the same thing. We come down and test it. We get quite a violent reaction. The first time that we came down to 6K, we moved all the way up to, I believe, 12, or maybe even a little bit higher. We come back and retested it. We went up as high as 9, came back and retested it, went to 7, came back, and so on and so forth. Every time that we hit that supply zone, or excuse me, that demand zone, it becomes weaker, and the reaction is weaker until eventually, in that case, supply overtook demand, and we moved down to the downside. In this case, what I'm seeing is a potential example of demand overcoming supply, because we have quite a violent reaction to the supply zone. We've come back up, we've came back up and retested the supply zone, put in a higher low, retested the supply zone, put in a even higher low, retested the supply zone, and are now putting in a higher low yet and consolidating right at that level of resistance. I don't really see a whole lot holding this thing back. And also, if you look at the volume profile, you can see that we are right at the top of the HVN. What is above us? LVN territory. Kind of the analysis, and I know that you've touched on the volume profile a lot, but the way that I talk about the volume profile is HVNs are train stations. And what do trains like to do in train stations? They like to hang out, talk with other trains, maybe get a car wash, you know what I mean? And LVNs, or low volume nodes, are train tracks. And what do trains do on train tracks? They just blow on through, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking for XRP, at least in my mind, looking at the 3-day chart on Binance. Now, this can all turn on a dime. Bitcoin breaks resistance right here. Bitcoin gets rejection from resistance, starts moving back down toward 3K. Everybody on the New York Stock Exchange ARCA starts screaming, sell, sell, sell. And, the potential bull run of 2019 is over. So for those of you sitting on the sidelines, if you're not in strong positions right now, again, not really the time to be opening up, in my opinion, strong directional positions. We do need to wait for confirmation. Looking at the higher time frames on a lot of these coins as well. As always, make sure that you're trading safely, and whatever you're doing, make sure that you know the risk of trading and that you are not making poor trading decisions. All right, let me see here. Do you have any comments on XRP? I don't know if you had
on XRP. Not that I think I agree with a lot of your analysis. I do have a comment on XBT. The most important of all the coins.
Yeah, definitely.
And one thing I want to show, and it does relate to liquidity. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to pull up the XRP BT XBT USD. And I'm not going to be using the 1 minute. Let's go to the 1 hour. So what I wanted to look at here was what we want to think, to try to take more of a psychological approach to this, is where do we think a lot of stop losses are going to be, and what's going to happen if price begins to tap one stop loss. So when price makes a series of higher lows like this, we have a low here, we go a bit higher, higher here, higher yet. One thing that can actually, and here as well, one thing that can happen is beneath each one of these lows that I've just drawn, traders might be placing stop losses. So what I wouldn't be shocked to see on XBT, I'm not saying price is going to go down, but if price begins to trigger some of these stop losses, that could cascade like this. Whether that's a price tail where we get a very low price tail that goes down, that could occur, or we could get high downward momentum if price begins to come this way. But whenever I see this kind of pattern of higher lows and higher lows, that's telling me that not a lot of longs are getting stopped out. And if not a lot of longs are getting stopped out, then that means that there's a lot of liquidity to the downside. So that's just one thing that I want to look at here for XBT. I'm gonna get rid of those.
You heard it here live, guys. Tighten up those stops.
Yep, you definitely want your first. You want to be the first one having your stop hit. You don't want to be the last one having your stop hit. So I think placing your stop loss like here is a pretty terrible idea. Yeah. Personally, I think that price could just cascade and hit a lot of these stops. So maybe, tighter stop versus like a looser stop like this.
Yeah, mine's actually at 39.74. So right.
39.70. Oh, so you would be hit like if we did have what I was talking about happen, where we get a price still down to here.
Yep.
You wouldn't have much of an issue at all. You just have like a slight loss. You wouldn't be the last guy who sells down to here to some lucky buyer at previous resistance. Yeah,
and that's actually exactly where you have your cursor. So 39.18, 39.08, and 39.04. I have buy orders set for a secondary test of that resistance zone. Actually, if you scroll back to if you just scroll your mouse wheel down a little bit and zoom out just a tick,
like that.
Yep, you can actually see it. So right there, you can actually see that triple test of that resistance. Yeah, right there, right where you're at. Yep. Kind of that area that I'm looking to target, that previous resistance zone that was respected as resistance on the second pass through and hasn't been tested as a support level yet.
Yeah. And another thing that I like to look at as well is, have you talked about BAS on your stream yet? Bid ask sum.
Yep, I've talked about it. I cannot verify how well people follow the information. So let's hear it. Let's hear it from the guy who brought us the BAS.
Sure. So for those who don't know what BAS is, what we're looking at is the summation of bids and the summation of offers. So this red line that you see is all of the limit sell orders that are added together within 1% of the last traded price. So if last traded price was 4,000, then this is going to give me all offers from 40.40 down to 4,000. And bids wise, this is going to give me all bids from 39.60 to 4,000 if price was at 4,000 as an example. So what I like to do when I look at this is look at 3 different exchanges, not just, look at one and just call it done. I like to look at Bitfinex. I like to look at BitMEX. And I also like to look at Coinbase. And what I tend to like to do is go to the 5%, as you can see here. And if you just type in bid ask sum on the internet, it should pop up right away. But this is the link if you would like to have it. So if we zoom out to the 7-day and look at BitMEX, you can actually see here was a period where the bids were much higher than the offers. Green is higher than red. This would have been a pretty good time to buy because a lot of other traders are trying to buy as well. Now, we don't want to just look at BitMEX. So if I went over to Coinbase, let's go take a look at how the bids and offers were looking there. Lots of bids here, at this point in time before the pump. And then if we go to Bitfinex, which is going to pop up here, you can still see more bids here than offers. At one point in time, we had $11.7 million trying to buy Bitcoin and $7.67 million trying to sell Bitcoin. So basically what I'm showing you guys here is on 3 different exchanges during this period of consolidation, the bids were higher than the offers. And typically when that happens, price is going to move up. So currently what we're looking at, now focus on the far right side of the chart, you can see that we do have bids that are beginning to climb, which is typically a bullish sign. We look at BitMEX, look here, we still have bids that are higher than offers. And if we go to Coinbase for our final check, we have them about equal. So basically, I would say that
we're going to the moon.
There's currently more buying pressure from BAS than selling pressure. Take that, as you will. But that does tell me that price is likely to continue to consolidate, just continue to go sideways, or may go a little bit higher because of the high bidding pressure.
Now, one of the things that I commonly ask myself, so I'm curious to get your opinion on it. So how do you correlate the bid-ask sum with where the market is directionally? So for example, if the market is resting on support, and clearly we see that the bid-ask sum is going fairly wild with bids higher than asks, then clearly that is a good time to be buying in the market because we're at support, we're at supply, we're at demand, and we see that demand is rising. If we're at a resistance level and we clearly see that asks are rising higher than bids, well, clearly we're at supply and supply is rising, incrementally higher than demand. So this is clearly a good time to sell. But like, for example, what else do you read into? Let's take current price. Current price looks like it might be at a local high. We're at a level of resistance. Or close to a level of resistance. Again, a lot of people are talking about this in a lot of different ways. A lot of people are talking, and again, as I have on my chart, the descending trend line, we're, right at that level, right below the descending trend line, right in the proximity of a previous supply zone, that $4,000 psychological resistance. Again, I know that you like round numbers as well when you're looking at psychological resistance, but we do see the bid-ask sum going up, but we're on kind of the consolidation after a fairly strong upthrust on low volume. So does any of that kind of play in? What do you kind of pull from that or take from that?
Yeah, of course, we don't want to just look at bid-ask sum because that would be not the best idea. We always want to look at other indicators as well and other kinds of strategies. One thing that I think may happen soon is, let me just highlight this range low and let me just highlight this range high. I wouldn't be shocked to see price do this. Price hits the high or goes right above the high and then comes right back down. Goes just below the low before going back up. I wouldn't be shocked to see, some people call this range expansion, I think. I wouldn't be shocked really to see the range kind of expand in this way where we have stop losses getting hit, where price goes a little bit lower, triggers the long stop losses before going up. Or price goes a little bit higher, triggers the short stop losses before moving up. I wouldn't be so shocked to see that. And if this is incorrect or if this is invalidated, let's say the price instead goes up to here, right? And it doesn't look like it's going to be a stop loss hunt. Then what may happen is if price goes on genuine demand very high, what you may see is price then slowly go down to here to test the previous level of resistance here. And if price goes any lower, that's a very bad sign. That's showing us that this previous level of resistance is not holding and that price will likely go lower. But if this previous level of resistance holds after price goes up and retests it, then this is typically what occurs. So to answer your question, I would say the first thing that I would expect is a stop loss hunt and just a grab for liquidity. Wouldn't be shocked to see that. And the second would be if we get a high momentum up thrust or a high momentum down thrust, then I would need to see that retested. And then I would say, all right, price is likely to continue going down, or with this kind of pattern I just drew, price is likely to continue going up. So that would be my answer to that.
Let's see. We have a question. If I could read one trading book, what should it be?
I would say, have you read Grimes' Art and Science of Technical Analysis?
I have not read it. It's in my database actually, but I haven't read it.
That is a good book. Yeah. It is a very, very good book. I made a video on top trading books to read. I'd recommend that book. And also I'd recommend, I actually advocate reading psychology books like Malcolm Gladwell or other kinds of behavioral economics books. I found those to be really helpful too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I came up with my ideas for my videos.
Definitely. Let's see. If I had to recommend one book, it'd probably be Tom DeMark's The New Science of Technical Analysis. That was the first technical analysis book I read. So #bias. And although I don't use a lot of Tom DeMark's methods anymore, they're still obviously implanted in my head. So I still, look at the markets kind of, framed by what I first read, being a young adult. I still, the first indicator that I really cut my teeth on was TD sequential before Tone Vays made it popular. I have a full video on TD sequential. You guys can go check that out. I traded it for a long time in traditional equities. I still think it works quite well. I've gotten away from it just due to the success that I've had in my own style of trading. Let's see here. Hey, Jürgen Ernst, thanks for joining us so late, man. What's going on to you, my friend? What's going on, family? So let me take a look at this JPEG, and I'm just gonna hope that it doesn't break my computer.
Someone had asked, "What's that book again?" And to answer you, Daniel De Leon, book I was talking about was The Art and Science of Technical Analysis by Adam Grimes. Yeah, and I think Justin, what was the book you mentioned again?
Tom DeMark's The New Science of Technical Analysis.
Yeah. I think someone in chat had just mentioned that too.
All right, Jürgen says TRX up, ONT up, VeChain running, and now XRP. It's like the quad basket of of, it's kind of like, that's kind of like the, what's the word I'm looking for?
Quartet.
No. I'm trying to make like a high school analogy. Like you got Bitcoin that's like like the jock. You've got Ethereum that's kind of like the nerd, and then you've got like the cool kids over there. Like the edgy kids like Tron, VeChain, Ripple, Ontology. You know what I mean? Like,
Do you think XMR would be the kid offering you drugs?
yeah. XMR would definitely be the shady kid. Who wears a trench coat to school. Let's see. Crypto Red Eye says, do you think Russia will pump that $10 billion into Bitcoin?
Ask Putin. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that I hope I know what you're referencing here, because I read that on the news. I think that came out yesterday. That there was a Russian economist that put out a report yesterday. And this dude's like, straight up like, on the list to get assassinated by the ministry, because he does work for the government. So if he says the wrong thing, Putin's definitely sending the hit squad after him. He had talked about how because of United States sanctions and UN sanctions, what is likely to happen is that Russia will adopt a cryptocurrency style economy. Look at the massive amount of buying that has actually occurred of cryptocurrencies from places like Venezuela and Argentina. Any place that is hit hard economically, people talk about. And let me diverge here for just a second and talk about the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and why I personally am bullish on its use case is because most individuals who live in first world countries are quite comfortable speculating in price. As I say this, I sit in a heated house, in a nice community, with, an expensive computer set in front of me, streaming with somebody across the internet. I don't really have to worry about, food or economic sanctions or any of that kind of stuff. Countries that do have to worry about these kind of things have a genuine use case for cryptocurrency. And we're already starting to see so we're going to see that, it's going to reach from the third world inwards instead of the first world outwards. The technology was developed in the first world. I think it will be first adopted on a large scale from the third world in. Because these countries have genuine use cases, because their governments do censor their payments. Their government fiat currency is fairly valueless. It is depreciating much faster than the United States dollar. It took us a century to reach 95% depreciation, as opposed to Bitcoin got there in a year. But if you look at if you look at Venezuela's not their cryptocurrency, but if you look at Venezuela's currency, if you look at how a lot of these countries, how their governments run, there is a genuine use case for a currency that is government hard, that is censorship proof, that is resistant to attack, and that can be physically secured, as opposed to some other currencies. And there not a lot of options for Visa payments in Venezuela last time I checked. So. And this, not a stab on anybody that's in those countries. I genuinely feel for the problems that they are going through with the government. But compare that to the use cases that Bitcoin has in first world countries, where we're fairly secure using Visa, MasterCard, etc. But then look at what's happening in first world countries with issues like political censorship. And this doesn't matter on what side of the political spectrum that you're on. So I'm sure a lot of you are aware with what's going on with Patreon, with like Jordan Peterson and Sargon of Akkad, for example, where Patreon has basically blocked payments to these people because they disagree politically with what they're saying. Twitter has engaged in this kind of campaign a lot too, where if kind of Twitter doesn't like what you say politically, that they will actually shadow ban you. YouTube does the same thing. A lot of people have been taken off YouTube for speaking their mind or talking about stuff, and it doesn't matter whether you agree with them or you don't, but you're actually seeing individuals get censored for having certain beliefs. And if you want to vote with your wallet, if you want to support content creators, for example, like say, for example, you wanted to support what I'm doing or what Bennett's doing, you wanted to support his channel, you wanted to support my channel, and you wanted to send us some PayPal or support us both on Patreon. And Patreon decides, you know what, we think this cryptocurrency is kind of like some Russian mafia stuff, so we're not going to let you pay Bennett, we're not going to let you pay Justin. Okay, well, how can you support us? We could give you our bank account numbers. You could try to wire us money. How expensive and inefficient would that be? Or I can just give you my Bitcoin wallet address. In about 10 minutes, boom, I got the money and I can do what I need with it. There is growing a real world use case. And I also don't buy the Bitcoin isn't a store of value argument. The reason why is because, yes, we went down 85%. We also went up over 1,000. So I think, and you have to look at the fundamentals of why Bitcoin is a store of value. It's very hard to steal. If you have proper OPSEC, it's impossible to duplicate. It's impossible to counterfeit. There's a fixed supply, and assuming the blockchain network doesn't go down, your Bitcoin's always going to be around. All you have to worry about is proper upsec. So anyway, again, I know not your area of expertise, but any thoughts or comments or?
Yeah, on worldwide use, worldwide adoption. Man, I am not well versed in the like fundamentals and the I think like leagues more than I do about what's happening in third world countries and what's happening in first world countries with adoption, because some national currencies are being devalued to a point that they're useless. So people look for accepting and sending crypto. And from that standpoint, I think that besides the volatility of Bitcoin, I think that it is a really good standalone way for people to make transactions to one another if their national currency just completely, gets inflated. I think that Bitcoin is a way you could circumvent that inflation and then institute a new currency. But that is, I don't think that's going to happen in the U.S. for some time. But third world countries, I think it is interesting to see when those currencies, make some crazy moves, what other people do and what other people go to, barter system or Bitcoin. What would you pick?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. For example, the Venezuelan currency, like one Ncash, I believe. I can't remember the support. It was either Nano or Ncash, but like one of them was twice a month's salary in that country. Hold on a second. Hey, what's up, man?
Are you talking to me or?
No, I actually, sorry. One of my analysts was calling me, so I was just seeing if
okay.
I'm live on the air with Bitcoin Trading Challenge. Did I mean to have two open? No, I was just kind of editing the previous one. Oh yeah. That's the play for yeah. So yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'll hop in there as soon as I'm done with the stream and update them. All right, later, bro. Epistemic Crisis says hi, by the way.
Oh, hi.
That's Alex. All right. Let's see here. Dun 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 dun. I was keeping up with the chat. Shoot. There's so much chat.
Really, what do we miss?
Jack Lee says, hi, Justin. Thanks heaps for this. I am glad to be a part of your community. Well, Jack Lee, thanks for joining, man. Thanks for watching the show, man. Haven't seen you in here before, but highly appreciate it, man. Do I need to have my TRX in a TRX wallet, or can I leave it in CoinSpot to get the drop? I'm not really sure. I don't really know. Let's find out together. Let's go to DuckDuckGo. Will CoinSpot honor the TRX airdrop? See what we get. EOS, TRX, and ICX token SWAT support at CoinSpot. Let's see here. So that's 2018. Tron mainnet up launch. If I don't find the information in this, I won't take up too much of the stream. I will research it and I will post the answer in the general Discord. Yeah, so this is just about the transfer when TRX had that mainnet update on in June. I'm not sure because I don't even know what the name of the new TRX token is. What is the TRX airdrop token? Tell me, internet. Maybe let me type in BitTorrent. Confirms 2 free bit. Oh, so it's BTT, BitTorrent token. That's not a catchy name. Look, I'll look into this for you, man, and I'll put the information in my general channel on my Discord. If I can find out. Tron has been going up since the beginning of December. Yes, of course it is. I love that XRP TRX pair. You know, that's an element. And actually, Bennett, you're pretty good at this. I'm not much for the triangular arbitrage for trading back and forth between pairs. I have a friend that's played around with a little bit of capital on a bot that does this. But as far as manually trading, it's just not super my cup of tea. I think you really, and maybe correct me where I'm wrong, but you really do need, if you want to like make this a more permanent strategy, you really need to have, in my opinion, something automated to be doing this. It's quite difficult to pull off manually.
It's quite difficult to just do it yourself, just on the exchange. But I was able to do it, and some others that I had mentored were able to do it as well.
Okay.
It took a lot. One issue was actually the math too, because when you're dealing with triangular arbitrage, if you get any of that math wrong, then you could be buying or selling at bad rates, and then you could just be repeating that over and over again for a loss, and then you just keep losing money when you actually think you're making money from your calculation. And it's definitely not something I would recommend for anyone who's trying to get into crypto. But if you've been in crypto for a bit and you want to play the next level or try out triangular arbitrage, basically what it is and how it's different than just exchange arbitrage. Most arbitrage is just taking one coin and trying to send it to another exchange based on the difference in price between those two coins. But triangular arbitrage is a little bit different. And I made a few videos on this, but one example of it is if we're looking at the pair HOTF, and then we're looking at the pair HOT-BTC, that's a coin traded to F or ETH or whatever, and that's a coin traded to BTC. And sometimes there's going to be discrepancies between those two prices and between those two coins' parity value. And what you can actually do is watch the FBTC rate. I feel like this would be a lot easier if I just share my screen. So I'm just going to and like show it. Like trying to say it is hard. Triangular arbitrage is like hard enough. Let me go to Arb. What we have here is HOT-BTC divided by FBTC. And this is how you do triangular arbitrage. So we have HOT-BTC divided by FBTC, and that blue line that you see is HOTF. So whenever HOTF is beyond the bounds of HOT-BTC divided by FBTC, there's an arbitrage opportunity. So right here, for example, you may wonder, okay, this is kind of confusing. Like, what do I do? How do I profit off this? What you could have actually done in this exact scenario is buy HOT-BTC immediately. Then after you buy HOT-BTC, at this point here, you can sell that HOT that you bought using the BTC pair back to F. So you would buy HOT-BTC, you would sell HOTF, and you convert that F back into BTC using the FBTC rate. And the amount of money you would make would be, here it would have been about a 0.98% arbitrage profit. After fees, probably about 0.75 to 0.8%. But this is a way you can trade by looking at whenever this goes outside the bounds, you can profit off that using arbitrage. And if this doesn't make sense, which, I mean, it's kind of tough to show this to in like 2 minutes, I recommend you guys just go check out triangular arbitrage on my channel, and it hopefully makes a little bit more sense there. But long story short, yeah, you can still do it on your own, but not to the level you can do it with a bot. So consistently, can you do this? I don't know. With a bot, probably.
Yeah, definitely with a bot. I mean, that's literally a 1 minute time frame to go from one currency to another currency to another currency. I do know that there are some people that do this, not just in cryptocurrency and other things as well. But it's a profitable strategy in cryptocurrency. I've seen it get a lot of coverage. That's why I was kind of excited that I did see you catch that. Do got to give a big shout out. You're probably already gone, man. But Seth Shepard says, my Iowa Hawkeyes start in 5 minutes. Got to rep that Hawkeye pride. I saw that comment in the chat while Bennett was talking, and I about went off and put on all my Hawkeye gear, man. Yeah, so go Hawks, man. I am missing the game, but it's all right. I will rewatch it here in a little bit. I will check out.
Hawkeyes fan.
Huge Hawkeyes fan, man. Absolutely, dude.
I'm a Wolverine. Let's go Michigan.
Let's not. Okay, so guys, I'm sorry. We're going to have to end the stream early. And you guys, no, just kidding, man.
Any Michigan Wolverine fans out there?
Yeah, he sees you. All right, let's see here. He says he'll check out the websites tomorrow. I learned new things today. Hey, that is why I do this, man. Have we covered ADA yet? No, not a traditional show. Just kind of talking about more deeper strategy and psychology stuff. So no, I haven't done an analysis of ADA. If I find some time, which as the clock ticks down, we've got about 25 minutes left in the stream. Probably not going to be able to, but if I get a chance, I definitely will. Maka Kilo Kid finally caught you live. Awesome. Hey, glad you could catch me, man. Glad to catch you too. Vlad Canro says, yeah, that would be me with 300 rigs warming up the warehouse right now. Referring to the mining, when we were talking about mining. Yes, no, listen guys, I'm not hard to catch live. I've had some internet issues for the last week. I'm normally here every morning, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, noon on the Eastern Seaboard. We are looking at adding some new shows on the stream. We've done some test runs with them. I just want to make sure that their bandwidth is okay. So hopefully I've got the internet issue fixed on my end. Also, just, near to the holidays, I've got a big family, got a kid, just needed to take a little bit of a sabbatical and breathe a little bit, because it's every morning, 11 a.m. and I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning, fasted run, cold shower, and I hit the markets, do my own trading. Then I update all the premium members with all the trades that I'm taking, recommendations, work on webinars, work on mentorship, talk to people, update the database, try to read something, try to catch Ben Shapiro, and then I do the show, so welcome to my life. Let's see here.
Busy.
Yes, I love it though, man. I like not having to punch a time clock. So whatever I got to do, as hard as I got to grind, I'm going to continue to do it. Porto 434 says, great live. Thank you so much, man. Johnny Bull says, you guys need to do this together more often ASAP. Liking it. He's definitely, okay, that's going to make the other guests feel bad. I highly enjoy having you on, Bennett. You're very knowledgeable and intelligent, and I think the fans are enjoying the show as well. Power to Achieve says, oh my dear Lord, Da Vinci J predicted an altcoin bull run this month. As he predicted the previous crypto bull run in 2017. Here's the thing, man. I don't cast shade on people. That's not what I do. I know who you're talking about. I've never watched any of his videos. But I'll just tell you this, man. It's easy to say that something's going to happen. And when it's right, be like, I told you so, man. Of course. Whereas, and I'm not saying that I'm any better, but I'm here every morning. And I tell you guys like what trades that I'm taking. I tell you guys my take on the market. And sometimes, shocker, I'm wrong. And I'll tell you that, hey guys, here was my idea. Here was my motivation behind the idea. And guess what? The market just kicked me right in the teeth. And that's okay, because if you look over here, here, and here, at least this is the goal, I was right. So overall, I closed the day with a profit. Congratulations. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Whereas I don't find that many of these like quote unquote oracles who, kind of tie themselves to like, this is going to happen on December 29th, 2022, the world will tremble. And then when it doesn't tremble, they're like, I meant 2021. They can't just say like, my bad, I was wrong, let's move on. That's the problem. So not casting any shade on him. He could have the Holy Grail figured out, man, but he'd probably be living in Vienna right now with a beautiful setup and not making YouTube videos. Just like if Tone Vase could actually successfully trade the TD sequential system, he would most likely be rich somewhere in Antwerp. It's over 9,000. Porto 434, thanks so much for the sub on YouTube, man. Short-term run up, then big drop. Blue horseshoes. I'm not sure. I don't know what I don't know what that means, man. Blue horseshoe loves Anacott Steel ICX. I'm not sure what that means, bro.
It's a secret code.
It's a secret. Oh, okay. Secret. Yes. Jeff Handsome, what's going on, man? Do you know? Is that?
No, I honestly have no idea. It just sounds like a secret code.
Just speculating. All right.
Pump incoming.
Yeah, pump incoming. Tom DeMark's New Science and Technical Else. Yes. So sorry, I'm trying to catch up with the chat, man. Jurgen says I hang with some shady kids too. Do you guys think Pundi X will be able to make an impact with its new phone coming out this year, or is it too niche? Yeah, I think it's a little too niche. And listen, Pundi X, terrible branding. Not a good name. Now they're launching their own token or they're launching a new token because they couldn't get enough liquidity on MPXS. MPXS did have a nice bullish play. I saw a lot of chatter about MPXS. It was too risky of a trade for me. Just based on the what I trade, the amounts that I trade. I could have gotten in with like a couple $1,000 play, but there's just the liquidity really wasn't there for that coin. And again, things like I will see good trades as an analyst, but as a trader, I have to take liquidity and slippage into account, unfortunately. So typically, like, most of the traders in the premium group, and I assume most of the traders watching this, you guys are going to fall within the like probably 500 to 5,000, retail market range, maybe 10,000. Couple of, a few of you out there, I know, like, members of the premium trading group, got 50,000, 100,000, couple 100,000. And when you get up into those higher levels, you got to worry about liquidity and slippage. So when there's things like Siacoin or MPXS or anything like that, that's like below like 1,000 Satoshis, it's risky to trade, man, because the liquidity, it's hard to come by, and you get a lot of traders trapped on one side of the position, and usually the market's going to go in that direction. You don't usually see a lot of institutional order flow with those really low cap coins. You see a lot of irrational retail action. So as far as, but fundamentally with its new phone, what was the other phone that came out? The blockchain phone that came out. I haven't seen that make a huge impact. So yeah, I mean, just right now it's a little too niche, just like Samsung Knox, like Samsung sells a whole hell of a lot of phones, and Knox is a secure area on the phone where you can put encrypted data. Nobody uses Knox. You know how many people I've had to like explain how to use Knox? I have Knox on my phone. I put passwords there, but like nobody uses Knox. Nobody uses this stuff, at least in first world countries.
I do have one note, not on the phone thing,
sure,
but on liquidity. And there's a little, not, I wouldn't really call it cheap, but if you're trading with hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you mentioned Siacoin, and you mentioned, what was the one other?
MPXS.
Yeah. So the good news about that on Binance is there is a way to trade it. When you look at MPXS, just for example, you can look at MPXSF, or you can look at MPXS BTC. And when a coin's really cheap in value, the good news about that is it does make it actually a little bit more liquid. And the reason that is, and I can actually just, if you pull up the Binance order book, if you have that, I think MPXS is like 29 or 30 Satoshis. And what's going to happen is a lot of the bids are going to stack on the bid side, and a lot of the offers are going to stack on one side. So if you place, let's say,
come on,
100,
I've tried to go to Binance, and it took me down a rabbit hole.
I understand, man. But all I'm saying is that, for those guys who are like, guys who are plus 100K, who are trading a lot, and you want to trade Siacoin, you want to trade MPXS, the way that you would do that is to, of course, buy Bitcoin. And you're on Wikipedia, Binance.
Yeah, if you live on the stream now, I've got the MPXS Binance order book pulled up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what are the Satoshis at right now when you have MPXS?
13.
Yeah. So perfect. So it's the bid is 13 and the offer is 14. Is that correct?
Let me double check. Yeah. So last value was 13. The bid is 12. The ask is 13.
Yeah, exactly. So what you can do if you're trading with a lot of money is you can put money on the bid, and you will be filled if price goes below 12. The good news is if price goes below 12, you're guaranteed to get filled if you place your bid at 12. But the bad news is if MPXS continues to go down. Or another play you can make, I'm not saying do this by any means, but there's a lot of liquidity at a tight price. If you want to market buy at 13 Satoshis, again, not saying you should do this, but right now there are currently 216 Bitcoin being offered to sell at 13 Satoshis. So you can buy as much MPXS as you want, up to 216 Bitcoin worth of MPXS. So with these cheaper coins, they tend to actually be a little bit more liquid because there just aren't that many spots to place your bids and offers.
At market levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets dicey when you're trying to pick up on key like support and resistance areas. So let's okay, sorry. Let me continue going through the chat. Good. That's a good chat. That's a good, yeah, not a hack, but that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, if you do want to buy at market level, the liquidity is there at the market level. So
for the cheaper coins, yeah.
Andres Luna says the Venezuela debate is a bit biased. Most Venezuelans don't have access to buy crypto, even if they wanted to. Over the last year, I've been in Nicaragua trying to help people buy Bitcoin and could only do So by selling my Bitcoin for fiat. And they are threatened by U.S. sanctions coming this month due to the dictatorship of Daniel Ortega. I'm all for crypto, but access in the third world is much more difficult than most people realize. Right. But where there is demand, things tend to happen. So whereas the need for a use case for cryptocurrency to be a censorship resistant payment, that actually does exist in third world countries. So for example, there are cell phones. There's lots of cell phones in very poor countries. Lots of people have cell phones in very poor countries. Not a lot of people have a personal computer. Not a lot of people have not a lot of people have a laptop, but a lot of people have cell phones or cell phone access. So remember, to use Bitcoin, all you have to know and remember is your private key. So as long as you can get access to any kind of electronic device, you don't even need access to the internet, because Blockstream actually broadcast the blockchain through the satellites. You don't even need access to the internet to utilize the Bitcoin blockchain. Things start. Whoa, hello microphone. Things start out because of genuine human needs, and then because of capitalism, because humans are all capitalists at heart. If it's profitable for us to fill that need and service that need and desire, which it will be, and it is, then you will see individuals move to make that a reality. So yes, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I get that most Venezuelans are not running around with syncing a full node on their private laptop, but Venezuela is not. Venezuela does have a lot of readily access to Bitcoin. And as more people become disenfranchised with the government, and again, this is all speculation, so take this with a grain of salt. This is just what I've learned as a student of history and what I project into the future and what I see in the current market, not current market conditions, but just kind of current society and economic problems, is that they have a genuine need for a censorship-resistant currency. They have a genuine need for a store of value. They have a genuine need for a currency that they can use to transact with. And their fiat currency is just not doing that. And how can you escape U.S. sanctions? Cryptocurrency. U.S. sanctions do not affect cryptocurrency. Let's see here. Jürgen Ernst, I'm not ignoring you, man. You're mega bullish on TRX, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let's see here. Power to Achieve says that would be funny. People selling, thinking the bottom is due, and a bull run takes everybody by surprise. No coming back. Again, I'm going to try. That's a lot, but I'm going to try. That would be funny. People selling, thinking the bottom is due. That happens every day. And the bull run takes everybody by surprise. They generally do. No coming back. Yeah, but they could just buy back. They could just take a loss and then just buy a little higher and ride the bull run.
Or they get liquidated.
Or they get liquidated and they lose everything. In which case then they I guess go back to work. David Wolf says I need a bot. Robert says Buckeyes. Hey, here's the thing, man. I am originally from Ohio, and my family are ardent Buckeyes fans. And when I was a kid, I was a Buckeyes fan. But then something happened. I saw that gold, majestic bird come out on the field, then just spike that football. And I knew in my heart I was a Hawk, man.
And I saw Michigan lose to Ohio State for the fifth time. And after seeing Michigan lose for the fifth time, I knew I was a Wolverine fan.
Hey, when you said you were a Michigan fan, it's like a double whammy, because I used to be a Buckeyes fan, and then now I'm a Hawk. But anyway, so hey, it's all right, man. We'll get them next year, Slugger. Let's see. So this is the third question I've had on that, so I will take a quick look at it. People are asking. Again, I hate answering these questions, but can I talk about a Tron selling point, please? Thanks, PlayQ. Porto 434 says, first time here, so much knowledge. Here's what I'll say. And I don't know if you were looking at Tron potentially earlier, but if you had any kind of ideas about this. So I'll just rehash what I said earlier about Tron. We have come up to a key level of resistance. You can see that this is our 1, 2, 3, fourth touch on a level of supply. So you do want to be hesitant here. Traditionally, this is definitely an area where you're looking to buy, especially if you had bought in anywhere down below where you had good, where you had good indications to buy, whether you were able to buy the bottom, whether you bought on the volume spike, whether you bought on the retracement, whether you brought the break out of the point of control. I mean, hell, at this point, whether you bought the golden cross, whether you had bought, the stochastic, I mean, whatever technical analysis strategy that you're using, obviously, I tend to keep it fairly simple, but this is an area where I'm definitely looking to sell in the marketplace right now. We're at a level of resistance. I don't like to long into resistance, so definitely looking to take profits right here. Can price continue to run up? Yes, but I want to wait for confirmation, and I definitely want to see us establish this as a floor. Now, I'm not saying that if you're in the trade to cash out your entire position. If you want to be, in my experience, you always want to be looking to scale out of positions and as well scale into positions. One thing that terrifies me is I ladder buy a lot if I have a buy zone. But one thing that I will not do is if I set a buy and I have a stop loss price and I don't have a plan to ladder, if price moves against me, I don't ladder. Because I'd rather just take the loss at the stop loss level rather than having increased my position size potentially exponentially. And this is a mistake that traders get trapped into. If you have a plan up front to ladder buy, that's fine. Especially if you have a buy zone and you're setting your stop loss, wherever you're setting your stop loss. Generally, like if you have a buy zone, that means you're coming back to support in my eyes, and you're looking to exit the trade like 1 ATR below the swing low. Is generally how I like to play things out. That way you generally won't get stop punted. Shoot, I just lost my train of thought. But if you don't have a plan to ladder buy upfront and you're just deciding to increase your position size to get a better average entry price, because price is not moving in your favor and that wasn't your plan up front, I see a lot of retail traders make that mistake, and that is terrifying to me. Like, why would I want to buy more of something to lose more money on at my stop loss? I would much rather scale into a winning position. So yes, I'm paying a premium on price, but I'm also paying a discount on anxiety because I'm more confident that the trade is going to continue to go in my favor. So if that makes sense. We got about 8 minutes left here, so let me make sure I got all the chat taken care of. Johnny Bull says, I'm thinking the bottom is also around 2,300 to 2,200, but I'm thinking Uber whales will want that fat wick down to $700, $800. What is you guys' opinion for that scenario? The ultimate shakeout buy. Could happen. That's a little, $2,000 is pretty extreme for a wick. If we go back in Bitcoin's history, we do see 30-40% movements. So is that possible when we get down to 2,300, 2,200? Potentially, but when I was talking about earlier on the stream, not earlier on this stream, but earlier in time, when we were coming close to 3,000, I was talking about why I was long when a lot of people were going short. And again, I'm not going to rehash all the reasons for that. You guys can just go back and watch those streams that occurred at that point in time. There was a lot of limit orders on the books spaced around 3,000 to 2,900, and they couldn't all be spoofing was one of my main justifications. Of course, also looking at the bid-ask sum, looking at the longs to shorts ratios, but one of my main justifications was that it was actually physically difficult for Bitcoin to move below 3,000, especially because in those upper $3,100 areas, those larger positions, those larger limit orders on the books allow their position to get eaten into, which is not indicative of spoofing. Generally, when you're going to see spoofing, you're going to see people as price gets close to their buy order, they're going to see them remove the buy order, move it down lower, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You didn't see that. You saw those buy orders pretty much hold steadfast and allowed to be getting eaten into, and then price reversed quite strongly. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll deal with that as we come to it. I do have, if we look at I can take a quick glance at it. Ooh, I see what I did there. BTC USD. Let's pull up the Bitstamp chart here real quick just for everybody. And we're on the weekly chart. Make sure we slap on logarithmic. You guys can see the areas that I'm looking at for my ultimate buy right here. Again, it's a wide zone. So again, ladder buying is kind of a predetermined strategy at this point in time. Between 2743 and 2287 is the HVN in a previous area, a previous cluster of orders. As you can see, this was a previous consolidation area in Bitcoin's history on the weekly time frame. And again, we do have that 88.6 Fibonacci retracement coming in right around $2,331.86. So that's actually the area that I'm targeting. Of course, everybody has to have a price target area. Going down below that, we do have an LVN. We do have a little bit of a bump there, a little bit of aggressive initiation actually, which would be an area that I'd be targeting for a trade, but not potentially a bottom buy. 1350 and 775.85 is actually the next areas that I'm looking for support below that. So right now, I'm looking at that 2331. If we end up going below then, we can look at lower targets, but I don't think that it would. But again, as a trader, I trade the charts in front of me. I do have, based on my technicals, I do have my price levels that I'm looking at as key areas of interest where I'm actually looking to add positions to my spot price. But you have to have a plan going in upfront. You do have to have for Bitcoin, it's something that I'm interested in value investing in. So as much as I trade, I do also have allocations on my portfolio for investing in it as well. So you have to have a plan for investing. So if you have a plan to buy at 2,300, you should also have a plan to buy at 1,350, and you should have a plan to buy at 778, assuming that price continues to go down. Again, there are better ways to do this. You can just wait until you have confirmation of a bullish uptrend to actually buy your bags. Will you pay a premium in price? Yes, but you'll also pay a discount in anxiety and stress. So I think that pretty much covers it, man. You both trade similarly. Nice to see you all linked up. Thanks, man. Robert says, but have you ever seen a buckeye? It's like an acorn. Yes, and it's kind of like a bullet as it descends upon your head. All right. So with that, I'm going to open the floor, which I've kind of done. Sorry, there's a whole lot more that I wanted to cover, man, but, kind of dealing with the chat, or, not dealing with it, but engaging with the chat and getting all the questions answered takes up a lot of time, man. So Bennett, we can go as long as you want to, man. If you want to get running, that's absolutely fine. If you want to, if there's stuff that you want to talk about, if you just want to completely take over for a while, or if you're getting kind of pooped, man, and maybe we can do round 2 sometime in the future. It's completely up to you, man.
Yeah, what I do want to show is like a really zoomed out long-term analysis, because there were some guys who are asking about is price going to go to like 22, 2300?
Sure.
And where I look at price, on the daily. So let me share my screen.
Yep.
I'm going to do this. And do you see the daily BitMEX chart?
I definitely do.
All right. So on BitMEX and on Bitfinex, we can see here, what I'm doing, hoping you guys can see this, is that 3K has not been breached on BitMEX, and it also has not been breached on the Bitfinex BTC USD rate. So right down here, that's 3,000. So what I'm expecting with this, and what I wouldn't be shocked at, is there is a ton of liquidity just below 3K. And I will bet you that a lot of traders are going to say, oh, if we go below 3K, price can only go lower. So I wouldn't be shocked to see news articles, to see everyone just going very bearish when price goes slightly below 3K. What I wouldn't be shocked to see is price going right below 3K on a tail like that, very violent, very, very volatile, and then perhaps a move much, much higher, or even perhaps a move just of consolidation, then much, much higher. Do I think that price is going to go into the lower 2000s? I don't really think that makes a lot of sense, and I kind of can't really see that happening. I think that it's more likely that we might get a stop loss hunt and then price goes lower. And for this to be true, I think that there's a higher probability of a stop loss hunt happening the longer the consolidation period continues. So if this consolidation continues to consolidate, then the odds of a stop loss hunt are just going to continue, because if price comes up here, then the odds of price going to here is much lower. But if price does this and just doesn't really go anywhere, then after that consolidation, I wouldn't be shocked to see this. This would not surprise me. Excuse the arrow. It's not pointing to any specific rate number, but this is something that I do have in mind for a very long-term approach.
Yeah, it was supposed to go up to 100K. It's
yeah, I forgot.
On the chart,
I should have put it to the moon. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense for trap liquidity. I agree with you as far as the setup for the trade. I do think that we probably will eventually. Well, again, I will wait. I will wait. So far as far as I've seen, I haven't seen a reversal of the bear market. I am, again, as I said, short-term bullish on Bitcoin. I kind of wait to see what happens when we reach that $6,000 level. Again, that level hasn't been tested for rejection. If we do reject from that level, again, I'm no confirmations that the bear market's over. So I definitely see and completely agree with you from the trade aspect and trade setup idea. I guess that as long as we are still in the bear market, though, I will stay in bear market phase and look for lower targets. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. When you look at market bottoms that had very large bounces, if I could pull this up, market bottoms that had very, very large bounces, this had high volatility. This had a, high volatility move that ended with low volatility, then price went up. This ended on, extreme low volatility. So what we're looking for is basically a high volatility move that is followed by low volatility. And have we seen that here yet? I don't know. I don't think we've seen the kind of pattern of a bottoming out like that or a bottoming out like this. So I think I wouldn't be shocked to see that stop loss hunt and then price goes higher.
Let me I completely agree with you. And one of the things that I've been saying in my stream for a while that I still remain in bear mode territory and look for lower targets until I see a couple things. At least in the short term, if I see higher weekly highs, breaking resistance, if I see a weekly open and close above 4,000, okay, then I can be kind of excited about that. 4,200, 4,400 are key levels to look for as well. Or if I see clear signs of capitulation. And one of the things you're looking at volume there, and that's measured in coins traded. If you actually, there's an indicator on TradingView that actually, oh shoot, what is the name of it?
I can look it up.
Bitcoin trading volume in dollars. I think
but this is in this right here is in contracts. It is in dollars because $1 equals one contract on BitMEX.
Right, but that data will not show you the previous bottom in 2014, which is a good example. If you compare the violence of liquidity.
Oh, you mean like the bottom in 2014, like right over here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
like right here.
And that's measured, right. And that's measured in coins traded. So you can see a difference in liquidity there in volume. If you actually look at it in USD, I believe.
You said it was Bitcoin USD. What was it called? Bitcoin.
Listen, I'm trying here. Let me pull up my trading view and see.
Oh, I found it. Is it this one?
Bitcoin. Yeah, it's one of those three.
All right, let's try this guy out. Bitcoin volume USD. Never used this one before, so new indicator in my eyes. So does this look like it?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. So you can see the spike there in the volume spike that associated the capitulation. So let's see here. Let me pull up the Bitstamp chart. Make sure I'm looking at the right thing. All right.
Yeah, and if you have a better look at it, I can quit sharing mine and you can share yours.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me find what I'm looking for. Yeah, so go ahead. Let me pull up my screen and I'll kind of point out one of the things that I've been looking for. Yep. Okay, so let me pull up that indicator. BT Bitcoin USD. Okay, Bitcoin volume USD. There we go. All right, and we will get rid of this and this for just a little bit. Okay. Hopefully this is going to highlight what I want it to highlight. Okay. If it's not, then I'll just say, hey guys, I was completely wrong and we'll move on. Bias was not confirmed. So one of the things that I look for in capitulation is if we look at how the market responded here at this point in time, let's go look at the bottom in 2014. So we get an extreme high price wick down on high volume. So we get a high volatility movement. And then in a very short span of time, so when is this? So this is the 12th of January, 2015 was really the bottom of the market. And price never really returns to those lows. On the weekly time frame, I mean, this is clear capitulation where you have a high volume spike down. And this is kind of a concept that you've covered in your videos as well. You see a high volatility movement to the downside. You've got stops, completely cleared out. Of course, this is not going to be indicative back in 2015. You couldn't trade contracts. But you basically have all people that are trying to buy and go long just completely cleared out of the market. And you're providing liquidity to, individuals who actually are on the other side of those books. And then the market never, ever really returns to those levels again. It tries to make an attempt here. But that's about 20% away from the bottom. You know, the price never ever returns to those lows again, and actually reverses from it extremely quickly. So let me see if I can't pull up that point in time. So that's June 2018. So we got to go back to 2015. Sorry. That's November. Getting closer. Here we go. So this is on the daily time frame. Here's where it happened right here. So you can see on a daily time frame, you can see that you did not have a lot of time to buy the bottom. You didn't have a lot of time to buy the market bottom. You didn't have days and weeks and months. You know, price pretty much immediately reversed away from this area and then never came back down close to that area. And then yes, we had that sideways period of consolidation before we really started up for our moon mission to the upside. We actually had a consolidation period of really had ranging price for almost a year. 257 days. So just looking at current price, do I think that 3K is going to act, you know, one of the similarities that I've heard is like, is 3K going to be the new 6K? I've thought about that a lot, and I definitely can see that playing out because yes, there's a lot of buy orders below that $3,000 level. Now, whether or not it's going to overcome supply that is spaced out below this level, especially in the $4,000 area right here, you know, I just got to remains to be seen for me. I guess I didn't end up talking about that indicator a whole lot, did I?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, so hold on, just so I don't lose my train of thought, and so I stay on that topic. We don't really see the same. We don't really see that same period here. Now, can it play out differently? Of course it can. But when you're looking at a capitulation play, if we look here, we actually had 1, 2, 3, 4 days to buy the bottom. You know, as opposed to you know, a couple hours. So it just doesn't. The market generally is not that generous in my experience. You know what I mean? The market generally doesn't give you that much time to buy the bottom. So that's why I think that at the very least, and again, I agree with what you're saying, there's a lot of stop losses below this area, a lot of liquidity below that area. So definitely an area to be keeping your eye on now. Just waiting to see what happens over the next day. So I do want to take a look at that indicator because somebody had pointed this indicator out to me. And I haven't done the time to analyze this, so now you guys can kind of see the noddlings of my brain live on air. And I'm trying to see what they have pointed out. So this is measuring Bitcoin volume in USD as opposed to the Bitstamp chart right here, which is measuring volume in coins traded. So this makes sense. The highest volume node that I can find is actually that 10% candle off the lows, where price actually went from, let's see, opened at had a high of 17,280. Oh no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong candle. Let's just zoom over. Make sure that I am getting the right one there. Yeah, 10% candle right there had the most USD volume traded. So that was right at the top. So I'm gonna have to spend some more time with this so to try to understand the correlation. I guess his correlation and his comments to me had said that looking at the capitulation of 2000, you know, the end of 2014, the beginning of 2015, he mentioned this indicator to me and said that I'd be able to see. So I'm not really seeing what it is that he wants me to see though. It doesn't look too terribly different from the regular volume distribution, I guess.
It's got the same kind of pattern.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I am gonna have to go soon. So if you guys have any like last question or any last request, you know, I'm all ears for that.
Maybe this is what he's talking about here. Okay. So actually, if you looked at that bottoming candle at the capitulation of January 2015, you actually saw a massive increase in USD selling pressure or buying pressure. But if you actually look at it on the chart now, you don't see that. In fact, you see a very low volume spike on that actual bottom candle. All right, let's see here. Johnny Bull says, I'm thinking that the bottom is also around 2,300, 2,200, but I'm thinking, oh, wait, I already read that. My bad. All right. Yeah, great point. Mastachio Ignorance BU says BLX. 85% of viewers can't find the like button that's at the bottom center of your screen, people. BU Bitcoin normalized volume is the indicator I have always used for that. Dollar normalized volume. And interesting. Okay, let me try that out, man. So if you guys have any last minute questions for Bennett, get those in, man. Okay, yeah. Yep, same thing. But okay, now I guess I can kind of see. So I'm going to have to do some... What does that say to you, man? That price reversed at the bottom candle on not a whole lot of volume.
When price reverses on you're looking at a 1 day?
Yeah.
Okay, so when price reverses on a 1 day candle with not a lot of volume, well, what that actually means is that not many transactions occurred, which probably means that the order book wasn't that stacked at those prices, meaning that potentially, well, it matters how large was the candle. That's another thing I always look at with volume.
Very small, man.
So a very, very small price candle with a very, very small volume. That's telling me that not a lot of volume was transacted. Then price just began to move higher to the upside. Yeah, I would say that doesn't happen as much, but someone once told me that when you look at volume and when you look at volatility, typically reversal is either going to be extremely high volume or extremely low volume. With volatility, you'll either have an ending of a trend with extremely high volatility or the ending of a trend with extremely low volatility. So I think that there is something to say that extremely low volume coupled with extremely low volatility can lead to a reversal, although I see it more as the other way around.
Agree with you. I'm gonna have to do some more. I'm gonna have to add that to my list of stuff to check out, man. But yeah, very, very different from the reversal that we got that really, signified the end of 2014. Again, I know a lot of people, I try to stay away from like meme stuff like that, stuff that a lot of people are talking about and pointing at, because generally when you get a lot of people pointing at and talking about something, the opposite is likely to happen. But yeah. All right, let's see here. Johnny Bull said, great stuff, Bennett. He subscribed to your channel. And Robert asks, will you be doing another video on scalping liquidations?
Yeah. So that video that I just put out, if you go to my channel, Bitcoin Trading Challenge, it's the newest video I just made. Yeah, I will be doing a follow-up to that video. I don't know if it'll be this week or the next week, but my next video is going to either include a little bit more advanced and in-depth ways of trying to find where people will be liquidated, or B, looking at different kinds of coins like ADA, EOS, EOS, I don't know what it's called, XRP, and using those kinds of coins to find liquidations as well. So a lot of ways I can take it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to do more videos on scalping liquidations.
Sweet, man. And I guess probably the last question, I think you can kind of encapsulate your ethos, your motto, and everything there. Porto 434 says, swing trading, what indicators are most important to use? I think that you could take a wider answer with that, which I hope you can use to kind of encapsulate your approach to trading and your methodology and how you
just put it all together. Well, when you say swing trading, are we talking I'm just going to assume with swing trading, and I'm making an assumption here that we're looking at a 1 hour time frame chart. If you want to go really simple, I can give you two answers here. One is the simple answer and one is the more complex answer. If you want to just say super simple, use money flow, which is MFI. The money flow is a really good indicator that looks at both price and volume and can show you potential reversals for Bitcoin and for some altcoins as well. You can also pair that with maybe like what you had mentioned with like Fisher, with the Fisher transform, and then combine that with volume spikes. That can be a really good, just simple strategy for swing trading and the indicators you'd use for it. Now you have another option, which is, the more complex way of doing things. And that's kind of how I like to do them. If you want to go more complex with swing trading, what you could do is look at BAS. That's the bid-ask sum. That's going to tell you how many people are trying to buy Bitcoin and how many people are trying to sell. You could look at MDR. MDR is looking at altcoins and telling us how many people want to buy those altcoins and how many people want to sell those altcoins. You could look at Bitfinex sentiment. That's BFXLS. You could look at the percentage rate of how many traders are long on Bitfinex and how many are short. You could look also at BitMEX liquidations. You could see, are a lot of traders likely to be liquidated in this price zone? Are a lot of traders likely to be liquidated in this zone? And if you think a lot of liquidations are going to happen at a certain price, you could swing trade that price and try to counter trade the market that way with a tight stop loss. So to really like encapsulate that answer, I would say if you want to swing trade, simple answer, just use MFI, use technical indicators and do your best. But if you want to try something a little bit more complex, then try to take a psychology-based approach and try to find some indicators that really give you the best read on who is buying, when they're buying, and who is likely to buy in the future, and vice versa for selling, because those kinds of indicators for sentiment tend to be the most powerful.
Well said. Well said. Scott asked if you like Chaikin money flow at all for that as a kind of as a maybe substitute for money flow.
I haven't really looked at CMF. I just look at MFI. Maybe I should take a look at Chaikin money flow, but I don't really know a lot about it actually.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, hey, Bennett, it's been fantastic to have you on the stream, man. This is one of my more pleasant evening live streams, man. I've had some good ones. I've had some rough ones, but this was definitely in the good category. So go ahead, man. Tell people where they can find you. As always, guys, the links are in the description down below to his Patreon, website, Discord, and YouTube. But if you want to, I don't know if you want to plug anything else or tell the guys where to find you or whatever.
Sure. So yeah, man, I think you've said like all of it basically. So you can find my YouTube. It's Bitcoin Trading Challenge. And I run a Patreon that anyone who wants to vote on a future video or suggest a video for me to make, you can go to my Patreon and do so. I also do mentoring, as you had mentioned. So if you want one-on-one mentoring or even a group mentoring session as well, you can go to my website and fill out a form, and we can find a time to do mentoring on any topic that you or I find helpful and profitable. And the final plug I would give is I am currently writing my price action volume guide. So what I'm doing is I am writing, and also I'm also putting videos on for really a price action volume guide that is showing people how to exploit other retail traders by stop loss hunting, by looking at volume spikes that show a lot of retail traders are mass buying or mass selling, and really a kind of guide that shows you how to trade against retail and how to trade like an institution. So that will be coming out in about a month or two, and I'm looking forward to that in the future.
Good, man. Awesome. Good to hear you're staying busy, man. A lot of good information that you're providing to people. If you guys are looking for, again, we do a lot of technical analysis on the stream. I'm a day trader. That's how I kind of make my living. But if you guys want to boost your skills and everything like that, definitely check out some of the stuff that Bennett has on his channel. It's been one of the, I'll be honest, man, it's one of the best resources, I think, for a lot of people looking for an alternative approach to trading that they're going to find out there. Otherwise, what you're just going to see is a lot of moving averages, a lot of stochastic talk, a lot of RSI talk. I don't know. That. At the very least, we always try to look at unique ways to exploit the market and the psychology of those traders as well. All right.
Yeah. And, to really encapsulate that and to leave it on a final note, what I always say is if you do what others do, you'll probably have the same results that others have. But if you look to do what others don't do, then you'll probably have the results that other people usually don't have. So with that, happy trading, and thank you for having me, Justin.
Hey, no problem, man. You can hop off if you want. I'm just going to do my 2 minute super quick plug, and then we'll bounce out. 1 sec real quick, guys. Let me pull up the thing because I'm not using the regular boom, there we go. I think I got it right here. All right, guys. If you guys enjoy the stream, if you guys enjoy the show, as always, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and the like button. Helps those later on down the stream find what they need, find the information that they want, gets access to the stuff that I do think that people need to see. As always, if you guys want to hop over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Kraken Crypto, give me a follow, give me a subscription. If you got Amazon Prime, doesn't cost you a dime, helps me keep the lights on. If you would like to get some serious value or some bang for your buck, guys, you guys can head over to the merch store at KrakenCryptocurrency.com and get access to this, the most magnificent of all beverage vessels right here, the Kraken Cryptocurrency HODL coffee mug. It is scientifically proven to increase the efficacy of your trading 80% if you do drink your morning coffee out of this, and speculatively can increase your attractiveness levels by 90%. So you guys can get that. It is available at the Kraken Cryptocurrency merch store at krakencryptocurrency.com. We do get a kickback from the sale of the merch. It does help keep the lights on around here as well. If you guys would like to improve your trading skills and start off January on the right foot, turn those losses into gains, consider checking out the Kraken Cryptocurrency Premium Trading Group. As a subscriber, you'll get access to all our sometimes I talk too fast. You will get access to our active signals and trade setups from all the analysts at Kraken Cryptocurrency. You will also get access to the VIP chat room and the day trading voice chat as well. You get access to one-on-one mentorship and support from the team. You get access to our database library and our resource library full of PDFs, webinars, courses, histories, workbooks, everything that you guys need. You get access to our live trade tracker, a personalized, customizable trade journal for yourself, and as always, you will get access to we had so much stuff, man. I gotta scroll down and remember. Premium curated news. Scott does the news every single day, curates the news for you guys. So no more searching for the news that you guys think is fundamental to the markets. And of course, access to my personal webinar series designed to teach you all the fundamentals that you need to be a successful and profitable trader. So you guys can go check that out if you guys want to start your trading off on the right foot for January 2019. I do want to thank Bennett, of course, for joining me this evening. Very fantastic show, man. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this evening. Hopefully you guys are having a good night, a good time, a good evening. Trade safely, and as always, guys, we'll see you tomorrow next time.